I'm now not on mute. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West Ham Weekly. Thank you all for joining. As I was just saying, a bit of a drab day. It's been raining, it's been horrible. No football at the weekend, apart from Liverpool losing, and of course, playoff finals. So, well done to Nottingham Forest for getting into the Premier League. Be a good away day for us next season. Well, I guess, for those who can actually get tickets, it will be a good away day. Yeah, welcome. And I'm going to go through tonight the squad. We've already heard about a number of players that have already left West Ham or leaving when their contracts end at the end of June. But what about the rest of the squad and who's going to stay, who's going to go, and so forth? So we're going to have an in-depth look at the squad and try and establish and work out who's going to be with us next season. But the first thing I've got to do, it didn't seem like a week or so ago when I thanked you, but I've got to thank you again because I reached 800 subscribers. I think it was only last week. It's gone up 100, and I'm really chuffed. I really am. So thank you for that. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe, do hit the like button. And there's a lot of you that don't hit the bell notification, so you're not told when I'm on next. Imagine that. Imagine missing my show. You couldn't have that, could you? So thank you all for subscribing to the channel. It's fantastic, and I really appreciate it. Before I go into player news, international roundup, I'm going to do a little bit about players on international duty, etc. Just want to have a look at this. Just want to have a look at this. I don't know about you. I didn't like the first one in the 90s. I don't like this one either. If this really is our kit for next season, oh dear. We're in the Europa Conference League. I guess this is a fitting football kit, isn't it, for it? The lower ebb of European football, and I don't like it. I don't know about you lot, but I don't know. It's been leaked. People are saying it's definitely the kit for next season, and apparently the away kits are even worse. Black with orange or something, or black with red, and God knows what else. I mean, what we become? Man United, black with red. Tell me what you think. It's not my favorite. I don't think I'll be rushing out to buy this kit anytime soon. But anyway, let's get on. Let's say hello to people in the chat and see who's there. Let's scroll all the way to the top. Good evening to you, Razor. How are you? How on earth do people put Blasic staying and compare with Modric? Well, we're going to talk about the squad and everyone. Benny, frustrating, yes, but third highest. Yep. Going to talk about all of them later on. Good evening to you, Dabs. Vlasic is a lot younger. I think he only has started one match. Going to get into that. So good that you're interested in it. So I hope, well, it'll be interesting to see what you think because I don't know. I've got a bit of interesting analysis to give you. Darren, good evening to you. Monday night shenanigans. What needed after the date? Well, you didn't hear me for the first few minutes. I hope you're doing well, mate, and thank you for joining. Good evening, Graham. Do you have any earth-shattering news for us? I do hope so. We could all use a lift. No, but stay tuned. Good evening, Daniela. How are you? Good evening to you, you beautiful hammer. Good evening, Black Country. How are you? It looks like 22. I wasn't late. Don't give me that rubbish. Graham, just tell Wasabi to get, mate, they're running around. And I'm sure one of them is going to ruin the day. I'm sure, going to knock over the mic. Well, not the microphone, but knock over the lighting, get in the way. I did promise the other half that if any of them come on, I'll leave them on and you can look at them. They'll be a lot prettier to look at than I am. Black Country, not bad still. Only 5 minutes. I didn't think I was late at all, was I? Good evening, Howard. How are you? Thank you for joining. Good evening, Joby. Good evening, Kimbo. Good evening, Mr. Lockwood. How are you? I hope you're well, mate. Good evening to you, Steve. Lee. How are you? Who else we got in? Let's see. Good evening to you, Robert. Mr. Ham. I know, Trini. I was muted. I realised that straight away. I hope it didn't ruin. I know, Robert. I was muted. All right. You can hear me now. Good evening, Andy. How are you? Hope you're all well. I wonder which three-legged donkeys we've been linked with. You know what? I actually, because I was doing so much analysis on the actual squad, I almost ran out of time doing an update. So I'm not bringing you a full update of every single transfer story. I'll give you a few, but I am going to definitely, like I did last week, I'm going to definitely do a couple of transfer shows this week because there are so many to talk about and so many to talk about that we're not going to get. I found it really funny that there was one player, Valentin Castellanos from New York, whatever, New York, whoever. That story came out, I think on Wednesday or something. He's been linked to us before that we were going to sign him, and then literally about 2 hours later, the same social media channel wrote another story saying no, we're not going to sign him. That's how mad transfer news is. I know. Epic, good evening to you. Thank you for the message, by the way. Really appreciate it. Disabled team, how are you? I hope you're well. I'm on. Look, good evening, Tony Hammer. Get used to it, mate. If it's the first time you've come on this channel, I know Ian, I know Victor, I know Steve, I know Devon. I hope you can hear me now. I really do. I hope I'm not going through this and you still can't hear. Yep, yeah, you can hear me now. Can anyone hear Breed? Yeah, well, you know. Oh, Paul. All right, all right, all right. Good evening to you, Grassham. I'm at my best order. What starters you mean to go on? You know, I mean, if I don't make you giggle, if that hasn't made you giggle, then what will, for goodness sake? So I'm glad I made you all giggle. Who else we got? Howard. Quality had 6-1 odds on still. See, you should start doing bets like that because you win a lot of money. Darren, let's get into it. Our kit is fucking shite. It is, isn't it? I'm sorry to say, but I can't help but agree with you. I think it's awful. I really do. Daniela, don't like it. Black Country, don't like it. Good evening to you, Sharky. I hope you're well. Oop, it's jumped as usual. Let's scroll back up. Who else we got here? Jovi, kit looks better when worn. Let's see. Kimbo, it's awful. Tony, badge it better without the yellow on it. Well, just get rid of that shit there on the shoulders. Put some bloody blue sleeves on it, and it won't look so bad. I mean, how can you go wrong with a West Ham kit? Claret and blue. I mean, that's all we asked for, isn't it? I couldn't give a fuck if it was the same kit year in year out with a slightly different collar or something like that. But what's all this shit? Honestly. Good evening, Andy. How are you? Leak Gordon, good evening to you. Leak kits are really true. Apparently, this one actually is true. I hope it isn't true. I hope we have a wonderful kit, but it looks like it could be it. Victor, good evening to you. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Mr. Will, how are you? I hope you're well. Have you got your 20 euros ready, Gary? He knows what I mean. Lee, I enjoyed your shows. What's going on with our I'll get onto them, Lee. We're going to talk about the team, the squad first, and see how many players we need to buy or need to bring in the summer. Hello to you, mate. I hope you're well, Tyler. Good evening, Mr. Bong. Sorry I'm late. You're not late. Trust me, you're not. I was busy winding up. Liverpool fans and Chelsea fans re their new ownership. Yeah, but Bowley has bought Chelsea today, isn't he? And apparently he was linked to us at one point in the distant past. Good evening, Mike. How are you? Thank you for joining. Pash, 900 subscribers. Surprising how many subscribers like the concept of a muted 30 seconds intro. Mate, you never know. That might be my key selling point. Good evening, Mr. Jones. How are you? Don't mind the new kit myself. Must be getting old. I didn't like it the first time round, though, Peter. I must be honest. But there you go. There you go. What's the point of VAR? I don't know. What's that got to do with the new kit? I'm sure there's a logic there to it somewhere. Good evening, Malkster. How are you? Quite like the black and peach third kit. I haven't seen it properly. I thought it was black and red. Is it more peach coloured? I guess we'll have to wait and see what it really looks like in the flesh, I guess, or in the material. Matt, good evening to you. We'd like to see Vlasic playing the number 10 role for a few games. He won't improve on the bench. Good point. And let's see what happens when I get onto the team in a minute. Yuha, good evening to you. Hello, nice. Thanks for joining. Good evening, Trev. Good evening, and Neil. How are you? Everyone's in the house today, and there she is, Hammerette. I hope you're well. A bit late, but that's all right for mod. Good evening, Rhonda and Tony. All transfer news is crap, which we all know. Not taking note until the 10th of June when the window opens. Yeah, don't take any note until the last few days of the window if we haven't signed anyone yet. We should get players in. We should. We bloody well better do. And I hope sooner rather than later. But there you go. Steve, happy Hammerette. How are you feeling? Are you feeling? Well, you will, Hammerette. I hope you're well. Trev, I've got the I'm on mute again t-shirt. I'm not making that up either. That's a great t-shirt. I think I'll make one up. I think I'll make an I'm on mute t-shirt. How about that? A claret and blue I'm on mute t-shirt. Trini, what's going on with the sleeves on that kit? You tell me, mate. You tell me what's going on with the bloody sleeves on that kit. It's meant to be a throwback. What was it? 1991, I think it was. Something like that, give or take. I fucking hate it. I'm sorry, but I really dislike it immensely. But there you go. There you go. Moret, new kit sleeves look like old coach seats. Good evening, John. How are you? In my cab, saving London and listening to yourself. Drive carefully, mate. I hope you're not watching and listening. I hope you're just listening and just keeping your eye on the wheel. But thanks for joining, mate. I hope you're well. Daniela, well, it looks like Man United have dropped the interest in right. They never had interest, and it's Chelsea. No, stop worrying. Even with the new owners, he ain't going anywhere. Don't worry about that, Jovi. That's a good description, Emirates. What was the description? Oh yeah, about the looks like an old, what was it? Train cover or something like that. Vinay, did I miss anything? Moist sign a striker will happen when Man U players fly. You missed nothing apart from me being on mute for the first few minutes, mate. But it's all well. Good evening, football memes. Any news on Aged? Yeah. Well, if you watch my show the other day, if you go into my back catalogue and look at the video I did only on Friday, I think it was. From what we're told, he's been in the country, he's done a medical, and apparently he's been, had photos taken of him with that shit new shirt. God, he must have been thinking, "Fuck, what have I done here?" So apparently it's on, but why it's not been announced yet, I don't know. I really confused myself, and I was put right by my mates, Pete, etc., telling me that you can announce a player. You can say, a player is on his way, even if it is before the transfer window opening, and he's right, of course. So I don't know. If it's happened. I don't know why we're waiting to announce it, but there you go. Sharky, Conference League football is what I've always dreamed of. Don't knock it. We'll be in it next season without a shadow of a doubt. And if we win it, I will be cheering without a shadow of a doubt. Steve, maybe you should rename the channel West Ham Mute. I like that one. Let's scroll down. What else? Who else? I'll tell you what. Why don't we start with the show? Let's go into the first part of it, shall we? If I remember what part we were going to do first. Of course. Right, so the number of players that are on international duty, and of course the first one, and well done and well deserved, Jared Bowen with his first senior England call up. Let's hope Southgate just doesn't bench him and give him 3 seconds on the pitch like David Moyes does with our subs. Jared Bowen, absolutely well deserved. He's been and not to. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? He's been fantastic for us in the past couple of seasons. He's broken Paolo Di Canio's record in the Premier League, scoring more goals than him. 12 goals. He scored 18 in total this season, 13 assists, etc. And absolutely well deserved. I think he's going to be fantastic for us. Of course, in order to win the World Cup, we just need one more West Ham player to join now. So Declan, Jared, and when Lingard signs, he'll be the third West Ham player in the England squad, and we'll win the World Cup this season, or this year, I should say. And of course, Declan Rice is also in the England squad. Of course, he's become the main player, isn't he? Made his England debut in March 2019. He's done 29 appearances so far with 2 goals. So future England captain, of course. That's another thing. We need a West Ham player to be England captain. Declan. We need 2 other players to be in the team. Lingard. No, so look, think about it. Declan, Bobby Moore, captain, similar. Jared, Martin Peters-ish. And Lingard, I don't know, Jeff Hurst-ish. That's what's going to win us the World Cup. Anyway, Andrei Yarmolenko. Can we still call Andrei Yarmolenko a West Ham player? I guess he is until the end of June. You know, he's back and concentrating on his in Ukraine. He made his debut 2009, 106 appearances and 44 goals. Fantastic record. And then, of course, Nikola Vlasic, that you guys have already started talking about in the chat. He's in the Croatia squad. Made his debut in 2017, 35 appearances and 7 goals for them. Alphonse Areola, our soon-to-be permanent keeper, at West Ham United. He's with the French squad, made his debut in September 2018. Only 3 appearances so far. And then the 2 Czechs, Vladimir Soufal, as well as Thomas Souček, are both in the Czech Republic squad. Soufal made his debut in 2017, 26 appearances, and Souček made his debut a year before, 48 appearances and 9 goals. So there's a number of games that all these players are going to play over the next few weeks. They start on Wednesday, June, Scotland against Ukraine. Yarmolenko, it's a World Cup playoff. The winners of that game will then head to Wales on Sunday for the final, and the winners of that will qualify for the World Cup. So good luck, Ukraine, I say. Whatever the results of the qualifying of the playoff finals, Ukraine still have 3 more games to play in June. On the 8th of June, they're away to the Republic of Ireland. This is for the Nations League. On the 11th of June, they're away to Armenia, and then they host Armenia. I don't know where that's going to be played. Clearly, it can't be played in Ukraine. They'll be hosting Armenia on the 14th of June. On the 2nd of June, Czech Republic start their Nations League games, kicking off against at home to Switzerland. They then host Spain on the 5th of June. Then it's away to Portugal on the 9th before finishing off with an away game again against Spain again. Areola and the French team face Denmark in Paris on Friday the 3rd. Then if both players get picked, Areola could face Nikola Vlasic in the next game in the Nations League in Split on Monday the 6th. France's next game is then away to Austria on the 10th of June, with Croatia away to Denmark on the same day. Then the 2 Hammers meet again on the 30th, again if they're picked, on the 13th of June, where France will host Croatia. As for England, we start our Nations League on Saturday the 4th, away to Hungary. That's followed up by an away trip to Germany on the 7th of June. Then we have 2 home fixtures at Wolves' Molineux ground on the 11th of June against Italy, and then the 14th of June against Hungary. Tough group that. Germany, Italy, not bad. Not to be outdone, we have 9 academy players also called up for international duty, which demonstrates just how good our academy has been this season. Connor Coventry and Mipo Odebeko, fresh from their loans from MK Dons and Doncaster Rovers, respectively, are both in the Republic of Ireland under-21 squad. Ben Johnson has again been called up to the England under-21 squad. Harrison Ashby and Christian Heggie are in the Scotland and Hungary under-21 squad, respectively. An excellent defensive midfielder, Pierre Ekwa, who was once of Chelsea, defensive midfielder, ring a bell, has been called into the France under-20 squad. And then West Ham United's under-18 captain, Michael Forbes, is in the Northern Ireland under-19 squad. And stars of the future, Sonny Perkins and David Mbama, have both been called up for the England under-18 squad. I'll keep you updated on all the scores and anyone that's played and all that sort of stuff over June when they all make appearances for their nations. Let's see who else we got. I'll have a t-shirt. You'll have a t-shirt. I'm on mute on the chats. Just jump t-shirt. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll make them and I'll start selling them to you. Good evening to you. Learn to dig 2 pits. Thank you for joining. New name. So thank you for joining. I think you're right. I think we did go down that year. Is that a bad omen? What's Umbro up to? Dabs, yes, I was on mute, mate. There you go, made your day a lot better. Richard, if it's a throwback kit, it should be. I like that. Andy, keep your eye on the wheel, John. Don't worry about watching the. Mike, once Rice sees this new kit, he'll be off. So true. Hammerette, let's like the video. Everyone, oh yeah, please. sorry, yeah. Please like, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe and do hit the bell notification to be told about the next shows that are coming up. Gaza, I'm sorry, mate, you're not getting two strikers. Not from what I think, but we'll get there later. Sharky, plenty of time to sign strike plate. Blah, blah, blah. Plenty of time to sign players. Just be patient. There is plenty of time. I'm not panicking just yet. I think when it gets to around about the 1st of August and we've only signed Areola, I might start shitting myself. But right now, I'm not. I'm not panicking. When is the deal going to be announced? When David Moyes decides to sign someone, I guess. It's you know what Moyes is like. He likes to be thorough. Other people call him a procrastinator. He likes to be thorough. So I don't know, mate. I'm hoping. I think there'll be three. I'm jumping to the transfers, but I think we'll have. I still think we're going to have three imminent signings, and I think one of them will be Areola. That's an obvious one. Lingard, yeah, I know, and I'm going to talk about him later. And Aged, who we believe has already kind of committed to West Ham. I think if we get those three in and get them in quickly, that'll calm everyone down, won't it? Let's see who else we got in here. Howard, we need three players in the squad to win the World Cup, I'm guessing is what you meant. Dabs, with all due respect, chats so much bullocks. He said Lingard talks going well and then said he's not joining because his watch got stolen. And then Lingard is asking, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Harry or Beatrix who? Potter? Disabled team. No, hang on. Croatia must be desperate for players. Do you know what? The Croatia manager loves Vlasic. He thinks he's great. And he's talked about Vlasic, maybe moving on to get some game time in order to stay in the Croatia squad. So, then they're not a bad team, Croatia. Hammer it. Talking about BS, saw a tweet earlier saying Benny knows what's happened to Lingard's watch. And apparently they have some issues to sort before he comes. Don't listen to everything you read. Huge. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Must confess, X says much crap is true. So much crap is untrue. What job did he used to do? I don't know. Let's not knock other people. Nick, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. X is the only West Ham ITK that speaks a bit of truth compared to all the other ones. I don't know who does and who doesn't. People have reputations to keep. I'm not going to knock X, but I've said it before. ITKs, their hand is their information is secondhand already, and I don't know. Epic again. X just repeats all the rumours and lies that broke the news when he got lucky. Good evening to you, Mark. I hope you're well, mate. Thanks for joining. Gaza, it's got to be set up for Wales v Scotland, surely. Has it? Has it? Will Ukraine have something to say about that? Good evening to you, Mark. Thank you for joining, mate. Good evening, Pat. Roberto is a great keeper. He has a neck tattoo and everything. Which Roberto? The one we got rid of, you mean? Nick, Odebeko needs to leave. Disagree. I think Odebeko, he's only 19. He's still learning his trade. I think, a loan spell where he went didn't work for him. We know that. But he'll probably get loaned out again. And I think it could be a half decent player there. But like I say, not everybody makes it through the academy. Jimmy, good evening to you. Any news on Stuart Pearce's replacement? No, mate, nothing at all just yet. I know people are talking about apparently making room for Mark Noble, etc. I'm not so sure about that. But it was a surprise that Stuart Pearce left like that. To be quite honest with you, I talked about it in my show last week. There's no sort of there's rumor, that as there is with every story, there's rumor that he was unhappy about not getting his voice heard, etc., etc. We know David Moyes does things his own way. He's quite a stubborn man and so on and so forth. But I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. From what we also understand, Stuart Pearce has gone on to do other things. We also hear Stuart Pearce wants a bit of a quiet life. Some people were speculating he might be going to Nottingham Forest, and especially now that they're promoted and help them in the Premier League. But other people are saying that he just wanted to have just a bit of a quieter life, just relax a bit, not having to do in the run around, etc. So who knows? Let's see what happens with Stuart Pearce. Yeah, I think he'll be a great loss to the backroom staff, to be quite honest with you. He's the sort of person that we need in the backroom staff. But anyway, he's gone. But no news on a replacement just yet. Who else have we got in here? Let's scroll down. Mark, I see some people have just figured out X. Let's not knock him. I've got my views. I'm not into the ITK stuff. I've got my views. But he's he makes a living out of it. He wants to, and he's got a reputation to keep. Nick, Stell, you should try to get Dyer. No, thank you. With the sorry, let me read the whole thing. Stell, you should try to get Dyer on the channel and ask him what's happening with Lingard and other transfers. Well, we already know, don't we? Pash, I hear we're having a pre-season match with Real Madrid. Also beat Liverpool, City, and Chelsea for the ultimate club cup. Well, we've already beaten once, so we might as well beat Real Madrid. We beat. Are we? Apparently, that is true, isn't it? West Ham United and Real Madrid are the only teams to have beaten Liverpool, City, and Chelsea this in the season just gone. So let's take on Real Madrid and beat them as well. Good evening, Steve. How are you? I know we do, mate. I think you're going to be mightily disappointed. But let me get to transfers later on. Well, let me get to talk about the squad in a minute. Huge. The last few Umbro kits have been awesome. This season's one was the best ever. I did like it. This leaked BAC kit is very much like the original. One of the worst ever. It is. It's horrible. It is horrible. Gaza. Why are we obsessed with Lingard? If he wanted to play for us, he would have been here by now. I don't trust his brother. I agree with the last part of that. But the thing is, though, I think his brother, well, he's his agent, isn't he? So his brother is the one that you've got to get through, and he can be a bit of a tricky character. Nick, unpopular opinion, for now should be vice captain and help Deck lead the club. Not unpopular. I like Fornals. I think he's a great player. And he loves the club. So, no, not necessarily unpopular. Jovi, new name linked tonight by ex Patrick Kelly, who plays for Coleraine in Northern Ireland, expected to sign very highly. Yeah, that news was out about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But yes, we are looking at. If you've been noticing, we've been building up our academy squad over the last couple of seasons and bringing in some very good talent from around. A keeper, I can't remember from Scotland. We got Oko Flex from Celtic last season. We got Pierre Ekwa from Chelsea, who was released by Chelsea. Yeah, and as I said earlier, another defensive midfielder who Chelsea have let go of. Because they don't value them. Bit like Declan. And we're building up quite Callum Marshall, who we got in January. Also another very, very good young striker as well. And we're building up a nice little squad of academy players. So he's another decent player that we could be getting in. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got? Disabled team. I think the days of ITK, they certainly have at West Ham United. It's certainly the way David Moyes manages the news. And don't we all get frustrated, especially when a player's injured, and we all sort of want to know what's going on with that player, and we know absolutely nothing. Yeah. I kind of agree with you. Isabel, good evening to you. Can you say Jacob bless? Jacob bless. Does that mean anything? Andy, my ex is for bullshit. I know. Dabs Noble is going to be in an England kit in Soccer Aid. He is, but it doesn't count, does it? Really, But great for him. Great for him. Matt, I don't think there will be any major signings this season. Sullivan and Gold don't want to spend, and they are holding mode until selling. Matt, I actually don't believe that. I know I sound like I'm beginning to sound like a board sympathist, but I'm not. Trust me. The fact with the board is this whole thing about selling the club in 2023. It's possible, but the amount of tax that they've got to pay is like it's been reducing every year by year, and it's down to it's a negligible amount now. They might only have to pay, I don't know, 20 million or something on if they sell the club. So that itself, will they sell the club? Who knows? They're getting older. That's quite possible. What's David Gold is in his mid 80s or something like that. So they're getting older, and then there's no reason to say that they won't sign, they won't sell. But this thing about holding on to money, unfortunately, it's not true. They do spend money. As I've said many times before, they just spend it very, very unwisely. You look at the number of strikers that we've had have all been failures. It's been a bit of a scattergun approach. Now we've got David Moyes in. He's got a strategy. He knows what players he wants in certain positions. Now the thing with David Moyes is he's quite tight, and he, as he's always said, he treats the money like it's his own. And he may not go and flutter the money as other clubs have done. Look at Villa and other clubs. It doesn't always buy you success as well. And look at Everton paying big wages for players, etc., etc. And look what they just scrape through, not getting relegated. So unfortunately, Golden Sutherland not spending money isn't true. They haven't spent money wisely. That's the thing with these owners. They just haven't spent it wisely. They now have a manager who's got a strategy in place for the players he wants. He will buy players that will suit a certain system that he wants to play and so on. The problem is, will he buy as many players as we hope he does? And I'll get to that later. Gaza, we need to sort out the youth system. Can't believe Bocco Flex didn't at least get a minute on the pitch. I agree. What is going on with the youth? I really don't know. Mr. Dodds, how are you? So good. You named your surname twice. How are you, mate? How many players coming in your field? I'm going to talk about that in a minute, mate. And will Sean lose weight before we sign someone? And will Nigel finish the kitchen? Nigel will never finish the kitchen. And Sean reckons he has lost weight, but maybe if you look at him front rather than sideways. James, I gave up believing the rumour mill years ago, and when they put pen to paper, I'm a believer. I agree with you there. Steve, some fans make me laugh how they go into a frenzy during the window. My motto when a player signs on the old dotted line, then he's a hammer and not before. Absolutely correct. I totally agree with you. Right, I'll tell you what, let's stop there, and why don't we go onto the squad overhaul, as I've called it. And I think you're all going to be a little bit upset when I've done the analysis. But anyway, here we go. Right. What if I was to tell you that next season I'm predicting we're going to have a smaller squad than the squad that we had for the 2021-22 season? You'll be outraged, wouldn't you? You would absolutely be outraged. So let's go through it, and let's go through it carefully with you. In the 2021-22 season, we had 25 players listed in the senior squad. Now, that does include one of our under 23 players, Ajibola Alese. So we had 4 goalies. This is true. We had 4 goalies listed. That's probably why we had 2 goalies on the bench for every bloody game. We had 4 goalies listed. We had, including Alese, 5 centre backs listed. We had 2 left backs listed, 3 right backs listed, 4 central midfielders, and then let's call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 attacking midfielders, and then dear old Antonio up front. Okay, so far. Now, we all know that of those, let's take Alese out. It's unfair. You know, he was there for numbers rather than actually playing. So let's say 24 senior players, okay? And we've already heard that 4 senior players have already left. And we already know that those players, Yarmolenko's gone, David Martin has gone. Not that you really would have noticed, to be quite honest with you. Who else has gone? Ryan Fredericks has also left. You know, so we're now down to sort of from the 24 senior players, we're now down to 21. So there you go. Those 4 players have left. David Martin, Mark Noble's retired, Ryan Fredericks, and of course Andrei Yarmolenko. Now there are a number of players who are also in their contracts are expiring at the end of June. So Angelo Bonner, as we know, he's had a long-term injury, and what we've been told is his contract will be extended another year. However, he's got to kind of prove his fitness throughout the summer in order to get that. That sounds a bit weird because we thought that he was going to be granted an extension anyway. But let's see what happens over the summer. And then, of course, the other 2 players are on their loan signings: Alex Kroll and Alphonse Areola. Now we know Kral is not going to stay. We know Kral is on his way, and he won't be signed permanently. And then that kind of leads Areola. Now we take those players off, and we're down to 20 players. Okay, 24 players gone, 20 players left. I left Alese in there for good measure. We then need to consider homegrown players, and we've got 8 homegrown players in the squad, and we will have as it looks, if unless we sell any of them next season. If Ajibola Alese is announced in the senior squad, he, along with Darren Randolph, Creswell, Johnson, Dawson, Declan, Bowen, and Antonio will all be considered homegrown players. So we've got our own. We've got enough in terms of homegrown tally, but I think David Moyes is likely to bring in a couple of other homegrown players in the summer transfer window. So let's go through each position and talk about what we've got. So I can't include Areola at the moment because he hasn't signed. So as it stands, we've got two goalies in our senior squad: Darren Randolph and Lucas Fabianski. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about Fabianski. Has he signed, etc.? We've been told he's already signed. He already signed the extended contract. He's with us for another season. So there's your goalie situation. And obviously, we need one more. And many people will speculate that it will be Alphonse Areola. It sounds like he'll definitely sign. But then there's been a number of rumours about Nick Pope. Maybe we're looking at going in for Nick Pope now that Burnley have been relegated. Or maybe Sam Johnston, who's now a free agent from West Bromwich Albion. But my money's on Alphonse Areola. I think he will sign and make that third keeper. And then we move to the right back position. I think here we kind of will all agree that we're kind of all right. Vladimir Sufal, all right, he hasn't had the best of seasons, certainly not the same as the first season that he's had. But, he had injuries as well. But I think he'll come back sharp next season. And of course, Ben Johnson will compete with him on the right side slot. So I think you could safely say with Areola comes back and with the other two keepers and then with these two right backs, you could say we're kind of all right at the moment. There's another player, of course, that's in the pipeline, a very highly rated young academy player, Harrison Ashby. I mentioned him earlier. He's in the Scotland under-21 squad at the moment. He's had glimpses of first-team football over the last couple of seasons, and many people speculate that he could be a contender for maybe competing for a first team slot or in the first team squad, should I say, next season. Right, over on the left-hand side, we've only got one player, really, haven't we? Aaron Creswell, 33. He'll be 33 halfway through the next season. Not many fans are. Yeah, some fans are torn over him. Some fans say he's fantastic. Other fans will sort of cite, that he's not necessarily the greatest left back that we've had. I think he's been sort of resurrected in a way that in how David Moyes has used him, using him as a left-sided centre back. I think he's done reasonably well for us. He's got decent stats, Creswell. I think he's a player that maybe we sort of underestimate a little bit. He's made 511 appearances for West Ham so far in his career, 23 goals scored, 66 assists. This season alone, 42 appearances, 2 goals, 7 assists, which is not bad for a player, who people say is not good enough. And he's got good pass accuracy, etc., etc. He's a decent player, and he could probably continue to do a job for us next season. But many of you are going to say, well, of course, we have another left back, don't we? It's not just Aaron Creswell, it's also Arthur, isn't it? But Arthur apparently is going to leave the club. Well, there's speculation that if we get a decent price for him, he could be off. And apparently Fulham is cited to be one of the clubs that he might go to. Look, Arthur, we all love him. 28 years of age. Astonishingly, he still has another 2 years left on his contract, Arthur Matsuaku. He's contracted with us till 2024, and he's got another 2-year option on top of that. Fuck me. His agent must have fucking pulled the wool over our eyes. Look, let's not knock him. 237 career appearances, 5 goals, 22 assists. This season alone, 24 appearances, of which 11 were starts, 1 goal against Chelsea, if you call it a goal, and 1 assist. Arthur just hasn't really done it for us, has he? So, I think if we get money for him, I think Arthur is going to be one of the players that's going to move on. Let's look at our centre backs. I've taken Ajibola Olise out of this, and let's look at our centre backs. I've already mentioned Ogbonna, Issa Diop, of course, Kurt Zuma, our expensive signing, and then of course Craig Dawson, who has really, he's been immense, hasn't he, really? Craig Dawson for what, £2.5 million? Look, some of these players, we've had a shocking situation with our centre backs, haven't we? Who would have thought that we would have lost 3 centre backs almost in succession, and Dawson was playing most of the season with painkillers as well. We're just really unfortunate. We started the season really, really well with with Ogbonna and Zuma doing really gelling well. And then as soon as Ogbonna went, all of a sudden we started getting injuries with other players, and we started to concede some silly goals. And I don't think we kept that many clean sheets. After Ogbonna got injured. And then there's the whole thing with Issa Diop, of course. Many people say Issa Diop is not good enough. We don't. People don't say that he should be sold, etc. And it's quite possible. It's quite possible that Diop could be one of the players that will leave this summer. And then, of course, as I mentioned already, we've got Ajibola Alese. Look, and people have mentioned it in the chat already. All these players that are meant to be sort of really decent players didn't really get enough of a look in, did they? I know Alese played in the game against Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa League, but it was a it was a nothing game. There was nothing really dependent on it, and again, I think we might end up losing Diop. I don't think Ajibola Alese, I could see him maybe going out on loan next season. So we're already down with a few players, aren't we? Let's go to centre of midfield. Now with Noble retiring and Alex Kroll leaving West Ham, we're kind of down to two defensive-minded midfielders, aren't we, if you want to call it that, or central midfielders. Look, with all the speculation flying around that Declan Rice is going to be sold for £150 million, Thomas Souček is falling out with David Moyes, and so on and so forth. Can you honestly, if we've got only these two players available in those positions, can you honestly see David Moyes letting either of them go? I can't. How much do you believe in the whole thing with Thomas Souček? Apparently, contracts are on stall. Apparently, contract negotiations were happening, and then they stopped because David Moyes all of a sudden doesn't think that Thomas Souček is worth a pay rise, etc. I don't know. Do you really want to believe all of that sort of stuff? I'm not sure I do. I think there's plenty of time for Thomas Souček to get his contract extension. I don't think West Ham United are going to risk losing him. I'll be very, very surprised. Look, Souček, he hasn't had the best of seasons in the season that's just gone, but he's been a solid player for us. Last season, he just made 51. He made 51 appearances for West Ham, 6 goals scored, 1 assist. Okay, the season before was much better with 10 goals, etc. But he's a good, solid footballer. And many people say that the reason why he hasn't played as well is because of the different roles that Souček and Declan were given. Declan wants to be a more box-to-box midfielder, and in order to have that, Souček had to sit back a lot more, especially in the first half of the season, and it didn't work out. Souček last season scored 10 goals. This season only 6. If we'd allowed him a bit more freedom that we had with Declan sitting, would it not be possible that Souček would have scored a few more goals? I don't know. But I don't believe that any of the rumours that are out there that Thomas Souček is going to leave or Declan Rice is going to leave either. I can't see that. I'll be very, very much surprised. Then we have another player, again from the Under-23s Academy, that could be staking a claim in the squad next season. Connor Coventry, he played for MK Dons last season, the second half of the season, and he did exceptionally well. He did it really well. They got to the playoff semi-finals. They didn't make it through. So he's come back. He would have come back full of confidence. He's had a lot of praise from the NK Dons in the way he's played. Could it be that Connor Coventry stakes a claim in the squad next season as well? Let's move a little bit further forward and go into attacking midfield. And let's start on the right-hand side. Now, I've got on there, will he be the next David Moyes project? And you know what that means. Is Jared Bowen going to be the next winger to be turned into a striker? And many people speculate that that's quite possible. He's had a fantastic season, as we've already said, scoring 18 goals this season. Let's get his, there we go. Scoring 18 goals this season, 51 appearances, 13 assists, decent percentages on his shot accuracy, pass accuracy, etc., etc. And I can see it happening. I can see David Moyes. Now, Steve Tiley, cover your ears, mate, because you're not going to like what I'm going to say. I can see David Moyes buying 2 attacking midfielders, maybe wide attacking midfielders, and utilising Jared Bowen as our second striker rather than buying another striker. I can actually see that. But he's been superb for us. But as you can see, with Yarmolenko having left, he's the only one that's out there on the right-hand side at the moment. And then we move over to the left, and maybe a conundrum that many of us are not sure about, really. Again, he's like he's the Marmite of West Ham United. Some fans love him, some fans don't, and his future is the toughest one to call. And I personally think that David Moyes is going to keep him. I can't see that David Moyes will let him go. Look, it'd be 27 at the start of next season. Let's get his stats up as well, if I can get the right. There we go. He's 26 years of age. He'll be 27 at the start of next season. He's had 48 appearances for us this season. He scored 11 goals and 6 assists. That's not really that bad, is it? For a player that hardly started. Of those 48 appearances, I think he started something like 14 or 11 of those, something like that. So he's not been a regular starter, and yet not being a regular starter and scoring 11 goals is not that bad. So again, I can't see David Moyes wanting to let a player like him go. I think it's quite possible that Benrahma will be kept at the club, will be used as a squad player in order to keep that strength in depth. And don't forget, the one thing that we're going to be crying for, especially with a lot of players leaving, is we're going to require strength in depth. So selling players on top of players already leaving just kind of doesn't make sense. And for me, Benrahma is probably likely to stay. Right. I'm going to give you another stat to sort of give you a comparison of his stats against. I've picked Antonio. So let's see. Benrahma scored 11 goals this season. Antonio scored 13. Antonio's had almost double the assists. Antonio had 45 starts to what did I say? Did I say 11 starts? That was wrong. To Benrahma's 31 starts. So Antonio's had nearly 4,000 minutes played on the pitch. Benrahma owned just under 3,000. So the goal ratio for Antonio, 1 in every 300 minutes, whereas Benrahma 1 in every 260. So he's more effective goal wise, per minutes played. Assist ratio, yeah, Antonio is better. So look, Antonio by all accounts, he had a dreadful season, but he was rarely dropped. Whereas Benrahma kept being dropped time after time, and not starting, etc., etc. So you look at those stats, and I would hazard a guess that I would say that he'll be kept. I think he's a valuable player. I know he's not to everyone's cup of tea, but he's got a role to play in the squad, I reckon, and I think he'll be kept. Next, a couple of other players. Already mentioned the youngster Okoflex. He was in the squad in the last game of the season against Brian. Why not give him 10 minutes and see what he could have done? Who knows? Who knows? Okoflex. Now, with him, he's been a lot of teams have been after him, especially in the winter transfer window. They wanted him to come on loan to their clubs. Scottish Premier League clubs were after him. Championship clubs were after him. They wanted him. They saw the value in him. Is he a potential first team player next season? Yeah, possibly. And then Vlasic. Look, I put in there Vlasic going out on loan. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation that Vlasic will actually be sold next season rather than going out on loan. I think if we can get a decent price for him, then yes, we'll sell him. But I kind of, one way or another, I don't think Vlasic will be at the club, whether it's on loan or whether it's loaned out next season. Let's move a little bit further forward, or more to the middle, shall we say. We have two attacking central midfielders, if you want to call it that, Lanzini and Fornals. Look, I know there's an awful lot of speculation about Lanzini, and everyone is saying that he wants to leave. He wants to go back to Argentina and play for his first club, River Plate. Yes, he does, but he's always said at the end of his career, or near the end of his career, he wants to leave. He's 29 years of age. He's still got a contract till 2023 with a 2-year option on top of that. And I don't see Lanzini being sold or being allowed to go back to River Plate now. Maybe at the end of his contract in 2023, when there's the 2-year option to discuss, that might be the time to turn around and say, do you want to stay or do you want to go? But he ain't going anywhere either. I can't see it. I will find that quite surprising if we allowed Lanzini to leave next season at the end of this season. And that goes with Pablo Fornals. Again, look, he fell away. No doubt about it. He played 54 games, or he made 54 appearances, I should say, last season, season just passed. I think that's the most of any player, to be honest. I don't even think even Declan got as much as that. So look, he's been a great player, but when you play and play and play and play, and then we've got the internationals, don't forget, some of our players are out on that, you're going to get knackered. This is where strength in depth comes in. And this is why I just don't think that Pablo Fornals, people have been slating him. I think he's a great player. I love Pablo Fornals, especially for his desire and his enthusiasm at the club. He's another player that's going to be at West Ham next season as well. And then, of course, we've got to mention up front Antonio. Poor old Antonio. He's not had a great season, has he? I mean, all right, still scored 30, scored 13 goals in all competitions, but it's not been fantastic for him. And it will not surprise me, to be quite honest with you, at the age of 32, and I've already mentioned it, and I know you're all going to go mad, but it will not surprise me if Mikel Antonio is our only striker again next season. 47 appearances, 13 goals in all competitions, 11 assists. Fantastic. But, he did have a massive spell, didn't he? From November when he came back from international duty all the way through. And then he had glimpses of what he could do, but he kind of fell away. And, but I really do think he might be our only striker next season. Right, let's recap. So at the start of the season, we had 25 players listed as part of our senior squad, which included Ajibola Alese. And if you look at the 4 players that have already left, that brings us down to 21 players. As I said, Noble's gone, David Martin's gone, Ryan Fredericks has gone, and Yarmolenko's gone. That brings us down to 21 players. Then, if you get rid of other players that I've mentioned, let me just go back because I've forgotten which ones they are. Right, yes. We've got players like Areola, who is yet to sign. We've got other players who have, whose futures have not been decided. So we're down to sort of 18 players. Kral will be gone, Areola's gone, etc. That brings us down to 18 players. Now, if we have other players that could leave, the likes of Diop, Vlasic, Masuaku, Souček, Benrahma, all listed as players that could possibly leave, that brings us down to 13 senior players, of which 2 are goalies. That ain't going to happen. That's why I don't believe in the stories about Souček and Benrahma going. I just don't think it will happen. Diop, possibly. If we get like-for-like replacement, yes, possibly. Other players, yeah, possibly if you get like-for-like in. But if we got rid of Diop and Souček and not signed Areola, etc., could you honestly see us having only 13 players where we're going to need another 10 players at least to bring in to make up squad numbers? I can't. So I'm putting Souček back in there. I'm putting Areola back in there. Who else have I put in there that I've not recognised? Let's have a look. And Benrahma. There you go. I'm putting Benrahma, Areola, and Souček back in there. I don't think those 3 players will be sold. There will be players potentially gone though, and we could be down to around 16 players in total. Right. That means in order to get a decent sized squad, and this is what I said at the start, when I think we're going to have smaller numbers than we had in 2020 21 22 season, this is why I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to go for a left back. Again, as I've said, looks like a certainty. Areola will sign, so he's a certainty. We need a central midfielder, a left back. We need a left-sided attacking midfielder and a right-sided attacking midfielder. And that's when David Moyes might be clever in some people's eyes, not so clever in other eyes, where he'll get 2 attacking midfielders who can also link up as a number 9. Or he uses Jared Bowen in the number 9 slot, so he has another attacking midfielder coming in to replace him. Players moving on. Kral, as I said already, I think Vlasic will go. I think Masuaku will go if we get a right price for him. And I think Diop will go. Those are the 4 players that I think will go. If we get the 3 players in that I think will be the imminent signings, Areola, Lingard, and Aged, that means we've got 3 more players more to get up to 21. I don't think we're going to get any more than 6 players in this in this summer transfer window. I really honestly don't. I think that'll be it for us. I think we'll get 6 players despite all the other players leaving in order to bring us to a squad of 21. However, if it's a squad of 21 with some really decent quality players to come in, not to be just as a backup to Creswell, not to be just as a backup to Declan and Souček, not to be just as a backup to Benrahma and Bowen, but players that can actually compete for first team places. You might look at that bench and that squad and go, actually, you know what? That's not so bad. I'll take the 21 players. Look, we're one goalie less as well. Rather than having this silly four goalkeeper rubbish, only three goalies. If we get players that are of a higher quality than what we've had, again for Diop, uh, let's say Bissouma for Kral, replacing Kral stroke Noble, a decent left back, Aaron Hickey, maybe from Bologna, for example, Lingard, to be in competition with Ben Rama. I don't know. Another attacking midfielder. I don't know. Emmanuel, what's his name? I can't remember, from Watford. If we get players like that in who are going to be competing, then you might look at that squad and say, I think I can live with that. David Moyes has already said, always keeps saying, I like managing a smaller squad rather than having the 24, 25, odd squad that he had. So if you've got quality players coming in, would you accept a 21-man squad if they're quality players rather than the Masuakus of this world, etc., etc.? I would say a lot of fans will go, I'll bite that bullet. I'll be all right with that. I know that sounds like, we're that we're sort of doing ourselves in again, but I kind of really think with so many players potentially leaving, and then that means all the rumors about the Socheks, the Declan's, Ben Ramas, etc., all those rumors of them leaving, I can't see that. It'd be impossible. Like I said, we could be down to, if we sold all the players that all these rumors are about, we could be down to a squad of just 13 players. I can't see that happening at all. I think it will be it'd be suicide doing that. So that's my summary. I think we're going to end up with a smaller squad than last season. I really do. I don't know how many comments there are coming up because I think you're all going nuts probably, but I genuinely do think that. Let's take Ajibola Elise out of a squad of 24 that we had last season. I think we'll be down to 21 next season, but it'd be 21 quality players rather than 24 players where you could look at about half a dozen and go, they're not worth being in the squad. That's my thinking. Then we move on to some of our youngsters, and they've already been mentioned. Ajibola Elise, will he be part of the squad next season? Will he get an opportunity? David Moyes had many opportunities to play Elise, especially in some parts of the season when Creswell was injured. Elise can play at left back as well as in the centre as a centre back. He didn't use him. Dan Perkins, his name is gone. Dan Chester's in the middle there, a very talented. The next Joe Cole. He's had glimpses of a few games as well, and people are speculating that he might be a player. I mentioned Armstrong Flex already, a decent quality attacking midfielder. I've already mentioned Connor Commentary, and then there's of course Sonny Perkins, highly rated striker. Could they be? I've got a suspicious feeling that some of these players will go out on loan rather than being in the squad. It could be if David Moyes wants to bolster his squad with youngsters. He's got a number of decent youngsters that he can look upon. So there you have it. 21 players for the 2022-23 season. Don't shoot me. It's just my thoughts. I'm going to be interested to see what you guys say. And here we have it. Three goalies. Fabianski, Areola was signed, and Randolph as the backup. Again, looks like he's already signed. Ogbonna back to fitness, Zuma and Dawson as the four centre backs. On the right side, Johnson, of course, people are speculating that Johnson might be another future centre back as well. And Soufal, Creswell. We've got to buy a left back this summer. We just have to. We just have to buy a left back this summer. And then Declan and Souček and another midfielder. Oh, my money's on Bissouma, but we'll talk about that in a little while. Then out on the left side, I reckon it's going to be Ben Rama and Lingard, and then you got and then you got Lanzini and Fornals. I put them in the middle, and then Emmanuel Dennis is the player I was thinking of. Someone like Emmanuel Dennis or someone like that, on the right hand side alongside Bowen, and then you got Antonio up front. And as I said, I reckon Bowen is the next project for David Moyes. We get two attacking midfielders in there that can sort of, play across all that front line, and you'll see Bowen probably be moved further up the field to be the backup striker to Antonio. There you go. Right, here I go. Um, let's see what you all have to say. I'm starting up high, so let's go. Steve, surely still we won't go into the new season again with Antonio up front. If so, one word for it, bollocks. Well, what do you think of what I just said, Steve? You know, I'm not saying this is what, please, please, please. I'm not saying this is what I want. This is what I think David Moyes will do. I think David Moyes will get attacking players that he can utilise and rotate. It kind of worked for him last season. It also kind of worked at the beginning of this season, and then it kind of fell away. So I think he'll get more quality players to be able to play those attacking roles without buying another striker. I want him to buy a striker. I really, really, really do. I do want him to buy a striker, but I'm not so sure that he will. Mark, Lingard's brother is not his agent. I thought he was his father. I thought he was his brother, but I could be wrong, Mark. Yeah, I stand corrected, mate. Thank you for that. Let's scroll down. Oh, it's jumped and it's jumped a long way. So let's scroll down to here. Ronda and Tony. The board will spend this window because the way transfer payments are these days, most of the money won't have to be paid till after they've gone. See, a lot of people still think that. I'm not going to contest it. You're probably right in that way. Dabs, apparently we received 228 million in revenue this season, not just in TV revenue, in total. Dabs, have a look at my show from last week, the West Ham Weekly last week, because I talked about that, and that was the figure that I mentioned as well. Nick, we should get a feeder club. We can send the youth to have a season similar to what Chelsea. I think that's a fantastic idea, mate. I really do. I think that really is a lot of clubs, and they play, you know, in the same team. They gel, they benefit together by playing alongside each other, you know, in a more competitive competition rather than under 23s league. Not a bad idea at all. Let's scroll down. Darren, Louis Scott is Lingard's brother and agent. Lingard used to be represented by Mino Raiola. Louis Scott, is he? Yeah, he is Lingard. I thought so. I thought so. Andy, we do have a feeder club, but they fed by Leverkusen. That's no good then. Good evening, WO. How are you? Haven't seen you for a while. Need to 10 signings if we let players go, or going to be stuck with a small squad to compete again. What do you think of what I just said? I'm sure you've commented further down. Good evening, Reese. How are you? Thank you for joining. Peter Jones. Matt Dench must agree with you regarding the board. A lot of people, and I know, and you know, you've got good reason to distrust the board without a doubt. Daniela, I think West Ham wants success with the youth team. That's why we did not see a lot of them in the first team this season. I've got a feeling quite a lot of the youth team are going to go out on loan next season, Daniela. What else have we got here? Hammeret. Can't believe Closet if Moyes wanted him, he would have got him. I'm not surprised by it because I think we had every opportunity to get him, but we didn't do. So there you go. Isabella. Arsenal was a little bit bad, but West Ham too good. Arsenal, we don't like Arsenal here. Good evening, Sean. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Richard. No, I can't believe we may have a smaller squad. What do you think of what I just said? I mean, is it wild? Is it mad? Is it madness to suggest that we'll have a smaller squad, but a more quality squad than what we've got? Let's not forget, there's players that haven't done it this season. Diop, hot and cold. Yeah, I like him, but I think he'll probably be moved on. Vlasic, no. Kral didn't do anything. You know, a number of players just kind of didn't do it for us this season. So would you rather have them, Masuaku, etc.? Would you rather have them just to say we've got the squad numbers, or would you let them go and then bring in quality players? But I just cannot see David Moyes bringing in more than 6 players. And we've lost 4 already. We've lost 4 already. If we sell another 2 or 3, you know, we're already going to be fairly down on the numbers that we already had. Let's scroll down. Fat Gitchenko, good evening to you. This channel needs a fat git like the other channels. No, bloody well don't. I'm fat enough as it is, mate. I put on a lot of weight, and you know I haven't had a drink for a week. I haven't had a drink for a week since the last game of last season. So you know it'll do me good not having a drink. Might get rid of a bit of this. Might get rid of a bit of this tummy. Reese, sorry I've not been active. That's okay, mate. West Ham well last few weeks. No problem at all. Glad you're back. I hope you're well. Let's scroll down. Happy doesn't make sense. Surely we knew we're looking at. It's Moyes. Moyes has to decide. If Moyes doesn't think that a player fits, doesn't matter whether we as fans think he fits. It's what Moyes thinks. Fat Gitchenko, you need one here. Still knows plenty. I know a player. What? I know plenty of fat gits. Darren, if we don't sign a striker this window, I will lose my shit. Darren, what do you think I've said? I'm sure I'm going to get to more comments further down. Let's scroll down and see what you have to say. Let's see, let's see. Right, Mark, we need a left goalkeeper. Yeah. Left back. Yeah. Centre back. Yeah. Centre midfield. Yeah. Left winger. Yeah. Striker. Totally agree on all of those. That's what I would go for. It wouldn't surprise me if we get two attacking midfielders and not a striker. I'm sorry, bearer of bad news, but I really do think that. Hammerhead, none of the. I hope we get a bloody striker. I really do. I hope we get a striker that can score 30 goals a season, easy. But anyway, Hammerhead, none of the academy players are anywhere good enough to play in the first team. I don't know. We don't know. That's the thing. They're so close. But again, it's Moyes' decision. Why did he have them on the bench if he was never going to use them? I don't get that. And there were certain games that you could have actually played a couple. They could have been on the pitch for a few minutes, yeah, a bit longer than 30 seconds, etc. But anyway, let's see. Hammerhead. Ben White pulled out in the end. I hope Dawes gets a call. No, he won't get a call. We'd love him to, but it won't happen. Mark, Coventry and Ashby next season. Not sure of any of the others already. Coventry. Yeah, I've been saying Coventry. This will be my third season. It's all down to pre-season as well. How are these players going to show up in pre-season? If they start showing what they're capable of, because the one thing that Moyes does, he did it last season. I think he did it the season before. He had a lot of the academy players playing in pre-season training, etc. So he had a good, excuse me, he had a good look at them, a very close look at them. Coventry, possibly. Ashby, possibly as well. Jimmy, is anyone after Masuaku? I'll drive him. Apparently Fulham are. Apparently Fulham want Yarmolenko, Masuaku, and Fredericks. And I joked on Facebook earlier on they'll be renamed West Fulham United. Hey, hey. What else we got here? Darren Krezis is okay, but we need to upgrade. He's going to be 33 midway through next season. We absolutely do. Disabled team. It's a massive step up from the under 23s to first team. You're right. I don't disagree with you at all. I totally do agree with you on that. But there are players that break through. Johnson did it. Declan did it. So why not maybe, even if we get one player through from the under 23s next season, that continues to be progress. Even if you get one player through. Steve, Longelo at left back. Yeah, it's funny because Longelo had a great game against Dinamo Zagreb. Then he kind of disappeared. Then he had a bit of a long-term injury, and he only started playing again for the under 23s at the tail end of the season. Decent player, but there's been a lot of speculation that he was going to be sold to Nottingham Forest. Jimmy, Creswell's legs went years ago. They did, but he got reinvented, didn't he? In the way Moyes used him as a centre of left centre back, and I think he did reasonably well, pretty well. Andy. Cresswell needs to be second choice next season. Who will we buy in order to make sure that happens? Alex, good evening to you. I think we'll be disappointed this window. The noises at the club aren't encouraging. It depends on what you expect disappointment to look like. Because like I said earlier, I'm predicting that we're going to get 6 players. If they're 6 quality players who are going to really enhance this squad, that for me won't be a disappointment. Even if we do, let sell maybe another 2 or 3 players on top of the 4 that have left. If we get 6 quality players to come in, for me, that would be good on top of what we got. And it will raise the spirits and it will raise the standards of the players that we already have. Imagine if you've got competition. Creswell's got competition at left back. The 4 centre backs in competition. If you like, we've already have competition in the right back and slot with Soufal and Johnson. If we've got competition further upfield, like for Bowen's position, etc., that will raise everyone's game. Let's scroll down. Hammerhead, resurrected. You're having a laugh. He's been sent off twice in the most important game. I know that, Mary. I know that. And it was disappointing. But I think Creswell still has a lot to offer. And I think certainly for the second sending off in the semi-final, he was exposed badly by our central defenders. Unfortunately, Creswell should never have been the last man standing in that position. To be honest, Hammerette, decent left back. Villarreal called Alfonso Pedraza. He'd be my choice. Don't know much about him, but I'll try and look into him if I've got time. Trini Creswell will stay, but should not be first choice. That's fair enough. I kind of agree with that. Mark, Age has caught up with Cressy, unfortunately. Good servant, but needs a replacement. Good evening to you, Schizo. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Andy, I think we're getting Cancelo. I wish. I wish. Where'd you get that from? Jimmy, Mark doesn't really matter. Moyes won't play the youth even when the first team are blowing out their asses, which he proved this season, Jimmy, which was a shame, really. Because how do you cut your teeth without actually demonstrating what you're capable of? Absolutely agree. Mark, Jimmy, fair enough, mate. Thought Coventry will make a good bench cut player, give him experience and some a rest at times. Yeah, I thought that too. I thought that in two pre-seasons ago, and then I saw how he played in pre-season last season, and I said the same again. So this is, in a way, he's got his contracts till 2023. It's his last chance saloon in a way. Um, he either he either plays for the under 23s, he goes back out on loan, or he gets an opportunity in the senior squad. Let's scroll down. Let's have a look. Good evening, Oliver. How are you, mate? Good to see you, mate. I wonder where you. Glad you found me, Oliver. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button, please, people. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell notification so you can see when I'm on again next. Alex, Josh Brownhill, and John McGill are really McGinn or McGill McGinn aren't really next level players. Interesting because they're part of my talk later on. Dennis rumours have gone quiet. They have indeed, as with most transfer stories. Dabs, coincidentally, Socek's big game was when Rice was suspended. That's true. In a funny sort of way, Socek raises his game when Declan's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating that we sell Declan in order to raise the game for Socek, but you're good point there. Did you say Cancelo? No, you meant De Bruyne. I thought you did. I thought you couldn't have slipped up like that, Andy. Hammerette, I think that selling Socek would be a huge mistake, even if he's more of a backup next season and we get someone else in to partner Declan. I agree. Darren, still, Socek's contract negotiations have been going on for a year. This suggests there is a problem. I could be wrong. I'm not so sure they've been going on for a year. They've certainly been going on for quite a while, Darren, without a shadow of a doubt. I think they'll be sorted. I mean, I think it's risky. Like I've said, with the number of players that we've got, I think it's a massive risk to sell a player in a position that will be desperate to fill. Unless, of course, we sell him for 40 million and we buy two central midfielders. That's possible as well. Very possible. Daniela, it's been rumours that Basuma wants to come to us. I hope it's true. I hope it's true. Alex, Bissouma won't be coming. There you go. So some people, it's been rumoured and some people are saying it won't happen. What else have we got here? Hammer it. Now Chelsea have been officially taken over. Wait for Rice to start talk. Of course it will. Of course it will. Declan's with us for another season. Let's not be fooled by this. Next season, end of next season, will be a different kettle of fish, but not this season. Anil, did Soufal sign a contract extension? Let me just find out for you because let's go into his stats. Give me 1 second to bring them up. There we are. Soufal, 20 contract till 23 with a 2-year add-on option. So it looks like it hasn't been extended yet. So he's with us till 2023. He's got another 1-year extension, another 2 years optional extension on top of that. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got here? Vinay. On Benny, watch this space, and Lingard, watch his back. On Benny, watch this space, and Lingard wants his wife. Is it true? I mean, I don't know. Would Ben Rama have stolen? These players earn shitloads of money, you know. I don't know. Alex, the noises coming out from Stuart Pearson Talksport about standing still are very worrying. I think, yeah, there was talk about, if we don't bring, we need a certain number of players in order to sort of stand still, and he's right if that's what you're alluding to. Brooke Bonds, good evening to you. Arthur's a better player than Benny. All right. Sharky, Kretinsky putting cash in for signings. Do you know, Stel? Apparently so. Look, in terms of how much money we've got to spend, apparently we've got £100 million plus an investment of 50 million from Kretinsky. That's what we're told. Whether that's true or not, I'm not an ITK, so I can't tell you hand on heart. But let's be really honest. And the problem here is not so much how much money we have to spend. It's more about whether David Moyes will spend that money. The trouble with David Moyes is he doesn't spend money. This is the thing. We may have £500 million to spend. If David Moyes isn't going to spend it, it doesn't matter how much money there is. But apparently that is true. Apparently, from what we're told, Kretinsky is investing cash in the transfer window. Anil, El Naziri only scored 5 goals this year. I think he's primed for a move. I like him, but will he be attracted to us? Yes, I think he will, and I'll tell you for why. Because of when we played Seville, that would have been a good platform for him to see West Ham United in full mode, and the atmosphere at the stadium, etc. I think most players that would have seen the atmosphere at West Ham that night against Seville would be looking at it going, not a bad team to be linked to. So yeah. Plus, if you watched my show last week, if you watched my show from Friday, I did a show about Naif Aged, and El Naziri comes from the same academy as Aged did. Not that you want to put two and two together and make five, but yeah, and Naziri, why wouldn't he be attracted to us? Why not? Indeed, good player, maybe a new project like West Ham United. If we get Aged, get a Naziri, both Moroccan internationals, then why not? Indeed, Dab. Since Benny has been dropped, Antonio's form has also been dropped. Coincidence? Good point. Very good point. Um, Everyone is saying that Benny. I don't know if it's true. I genuinely do not know. Um, who else have we got? Let's scroll down. I'm going to scroll down quite a bit in order to catch up. What's that? 9:50. I'm half an hour behind on the chat. We need a proper striker. Jimmy says Antonio couldn't hit a bull's ass with a banjo. James, the Chelsea oil days are gone. These Yanks want to return for their multi-billion-dollar investment. They may even remortgage the club to play for the acquisition, Man United style. Good point. Peter, around January window, we were told that he was putting in 150 million. Not true. Oh, for the summer. Now, yeah, for the summer. Apparently, he's not putting in 150 million. We've already got money in the kitty, but he might inflate it a little bit. NWO, Benny will be kept because no one wants him. Not true. Apparently, Brentford apparently would love him back. I don't know if that's true or not. Dabs, why don't we just offer Vlasic on loan to a club like Forest? You know what? That might not be a bad thing. Give him Premier League experience and see what he can do in a club like that. Yeah, you know what? That ain't a silly shout at all. Black Country. Silly Billy Sullivan is going to Birmingham next season. I've no doubt about it. Oh, because he's lending his mate money. I talked about that a few weeks ago. He's lending one of his mates money, but he's also already lent his mate, or tried to lend. I can't remember the name of the guy. Tried to lend his mate money to buy a football club. Several years ago. So again, I don't think so. NWO. Lanzini goal not featured in match of the day goal of the season. Criminal? Of course it's criminal. Where West Ham. If that was a goal for Liverpool, it would have been 100% goal of the season. Huge. I do think Pierce leaving is a sign things are not quite right behind the scenes, and that's worrying. We don't know. We really don't know, and I hope that's not the case. Victor. If we sign a striker, we'll only be an understudy to Antonio. Moyes rates him. I agree with that, Victor, which is again why I think that's why we may not buy a striker. If we buy two attacking players and then Moyes can rotate, put Bowen up front when Antonio's not doing it, I think that might be his preference. You're absolutely right. It will be an understudy to Antonio. I don't think it's right. I'm sure many of us don't think it's right, but that's how Moyes sees it. And it's a shame. Forgive me, I can't put up all your comments. You've got loads of them. I'm trying to catch up with time. Antonio was on fire from August until November, then went on a gold drought. Yeah, he came back from his international duties and he wasn't the same again. Anil, Fornals' vision is try things which are great when they come off. Erratic passing is forgiven. Yeah, but imagine better players around him who will see his vision and pick up on that. You've got to have good players to be a good, you can make players better, but at the same time, you want players on the same level as you, same thinking pattern, etc. Fat Gitchenko, Pierce wants a token fat git in the squad. Still should take note. Dabs, Darren Clarkson, and that was when Benny was dropped as well. Coincidentally, Antonio's form dropped at the same time. Could it be? Could it be? An interesting point. Never really thought that, but there you go. That's a really good point. Steve Hill, still think Antonio is better out on the left. A lot of people say that, but I think the only reason why he's not had a hamstring injury this season is because he's played up front and not had to run the channels. Brook Bonds, will miss Kroll, whose burger flipping was legendary. Oh, and congratulations to Alex Kroll, who got married the other day as well. I think that's what the pictures are. Alex, Lingard going to Milan. Possibly. Let's see what happens over the next few weeks. Certainly, well, I'm going to get to transfers, the last part of my show in a minute, and I'm going to talk very briefly about transfers. Fat Git, Paul Krall suffered from splinters on the bench. Mark, Antonio needs to be an impact sub. We're desperate for a proper winger on the left. Agree with you, but like was already been said, Moyes, he's got trust in him. He's got belief in him. Dabs, bring in a left winger, and Chester's will do a job on the right as a backup. Good shout. Hammerette, Benny will shine next season. Slowly but surely, he's really got better and is becoming Moyes' mould. Yeah, possibly. David, good evening to you. No striker. No way we're going to go on another season without Antonio getting injured, even with a winter break for the World Cup. Mate, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I can just see it happening. Good evening, Kenneth. How are you? Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're well. James, Pierce will be putting on his backpack and doing the odd Stranglers video wherever in the world. Epic 6. We're lucky if we get 3. We'll get. I really, we got more than 3 last season, and we had a bigger squad. Now I think we will. I think it'll be about 6. I can't see it being any more than that. In all honesty, I really can't. I think we will get 6 players. I don't think we can afford not to. To be really, really honest with you, everyone's thinking I'm optimistic. I'm the eternal optimist. I'm afraid of being disappointed about the lack of transfers. It ain't started yet. Let's not worry. Chris Nix. To combine Europe and League this season, West Ham must take their foot off the gas in the domestic cup competitions. Do you think so, though? I don't know. Do you think so? I wonder if they would. I think Moyes will go for all of them and see what happens, like he did this season. Yeah. Hammerette. Mark, yeah, I agree. Antonio will make a great sub, but he's indispensable currently for his work rate, just not goals, unfortunately. Good point. David, no chance of Bissouma. Let's not get our hopes up. Yeah. Andy, I'm losing you on the numbers. Can you start again? So I gave you a tenner. No. Go watch the repeat. Mark, Badiashile, rumoured, Raum talked about him Badiashile talked about him in January. Raum talked about him about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'd love Gallagher. I must be honest. And Ketia, if I had a wish, I'd waste one on Nunes. Yeah, Nunes won't be coming to us. He'll be going to a Champions League team. And Ketia still don't know what's happening. Apparently, it looks like Arsenal might relent and they might give him a new contract. Dabs. Still, what do you think of the New England home and away kit? I haven't seen it properly, to be honest with you, so I can't answer. When I do, it'll probably be a lot better than West Ham's new kit. Huge. To maintain our position, we need top class players, not squad players. I agree. And that's what I was talking about. I was talking about getting players that are going to be, good players coming in order to get us so if we've got a smaller squad, then David Moyes doesn't have to sort of worry about what he hasn't got on the bench. That's what I meant. Absolutely. Trini, I would not understand why you would not get 25 players for your squad. It cost us this season not having enough players. What cost us this season, in all honesty, what cost us this season is the quality of what was on the bench. I really do think so. And interestingly, a lot of people alluded to it. If David Moyes even had 25 players, he probably wouldn't play 25 players throughout the whole season, even being in all competitions, etc. And you look at the way he was using players, especially in the latter end of the season, where he was using the same players over and over and over again. And on occasion, on a rare occasion, he might give Vlasic a run out and so on. I think he clearly didn't have trust in certain players. He wouldn't have played Diop if we didn't get so many injuries in defence. Masuaku, left back problems, or even playing him as a left wing back. Tried him once. I think he tried him once or twice, and then Masuaku didn't see the light of day again. I think Moyes made his decision on certain players. So I get what you're saying. We need a big squad. What I'm saying is, if we have a quality squad, then you might get away with not having 25 players in your squad. And let's not forget. I mean, I'll go back let me go back to. Is that the last slide? Yeah. Let me go back to that. Let me take your comment off there. This is my prediction that Areola will sign. So that'll be 3 goalies. You don't need any more than 3 goalies. Okay, 4 centre backs. Diop will be replaced by a Ged. Okay, some will say more of the same. Others will say he's actually a better defender. Right back, you've got Johnson and you've got Sufal. On the left side, everyone is saying you need someone that is not just going to be backup to Creswell, but is going to be competing for first team. Maybe even be the first team left back. That's another player. So you've got Areola, you've got Aged, you've got a left back. And then in the middle, Declan Socek, another central midfielder. That's 4 players bought. And then on the right side and on the left side of attacking midfield, that's another 2 players. That's only 6 players bought. And that's with all the players having gone. 4 players already left, certain players being sold, Diop, etc. Masuaku. Are you going to miss Diop? Are you going to miss Masuaku? Are you going to miss Kral? Are you going to miss Noble, who's now retired? You've got to ask yourself, are you going to miss those players? Yarmolenko, he did a bit of a job for us, but if you get a better player in than Yarmolenko, are you going to miss those players? So that's why I'm suggesting. I'm not saying that's what I want. What I'm suggesting is with players that Moyes doesn't rate, with players that have already gone, we could be down to, if we get, and I don't honestly think we'll get more than 6 players in this January transfer. Said it January again, in this summer transfer window. We get 6 players in, plus the players that are left. That's a squad of 21 players. I'm not saying that's what I want, but if they're 21 quality players, let's forget Randolph for a minute. If they're 20 quality players, would you argue with that? Would you not rather have a bench that's going to be quality players that you can go, right, I can really change the game here with a player that's on the bench? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's what will happen. And I totally get you about the 25 squad players. And then maybe, as I said afterwards, maybe some of the youngsters might break through next season to make up a few more numbers. So there's a logic to the madness, but I'm not saying that's what I want. But I could see it happening with the number of players that are going and with the number of players that are likely to be brought in. I can see us having a smaller squad than we had last season. Right, let's scroll down. NWO can't compete in full comps with a small squad. We have already proved that twice. As I keep repeating, we haven't competed with a squad that hasn't been full of quality. But anyway, let's scroll down and see what you guys say. Good evening, Martini. You could add Lanzini to that list of Forstell. He's had another poor season overall. It's not been great, but I still think there's a role for Lanzini to play even next season, to be honest with you. James, good evening to you. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Paul, smaller squad with possible more games. Yeah. But is there a logic to what I've just said? Hammerette. Most of the season players leaving don't regularly start anyway, so won't be too much. This is exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm thinking. Kenneth, Moyes has done okay the last 2 seasons, but he needs to step up about transfers and making subs. I totally agree with the subs situation. Good evening, Ryan. Is it too much to ask to have 2 players for each position? That should be a minimum. No, it shouldn't be. But if you really believe that David Moyes is going to go out and buy maybe 8 or 9 players, then yes, you'll get your 2 players per position. I unfortunately don't think he will. I will eat my hat if he brings in more than 6 players. I'll be so happy if he does, but I just unfortunately can't see it. Andy, if it's just rating society says it's fine as long as it didn't hurt. Yeah, yeah, I know, mate. Absolutely. I mean, Zuma, what he did was wrong. But when you look at what happened, I'm not going to name the other player that was on a court trial, but it's a bit imbalanced, isn't it? Vakichenko, Moyes, plan A, play Antonio. Plan B, play Antonio on the left. Plan C, play Antonio in the middle. David, good evening. Hickey or Sosa, Onana or Berg? Onana, I read about that today, and I talked about him about a few weeks ago. But I promised to do a talk about Onana later on this week, as well as Hickey. I've already spoken about him. I spoke about him in January. Don't know much about Sosa. Berg, we were linked to him about 2 seasons ago before he went to, where did he go? Was it Sheffield United? Was it? Oh no, where did he go since then? I can't remember. Gallagher, love him. Love to have Gallagher. Lingard, I think it will be. Broja, I don't think that'll happen. Good evening, and Kakuris. How are you, mate? How's the Conference League, lads? It'll be fine, Ant. I'm guessing you're not a West Ham fan, but welcome. Are you Greek? So you're probably a Spurs fan. I hope I haven't offended you if you're not. Vinny, 21 players never going to work if you get you relegated. Am I talking total madness if I'm saying 21 quality players? Again, don't get me wrong. It's not what I want. Kenneth, we need to act now. Otherwise, other teams will still our targets if they were ever targets in the first place. Brook Bonds, cheers. I'm off top myself. Have a good evening. Juha. Getting in 6 might be optimistic. Good speculation still. Well, if we get rid of players who are, as Hammerette said, players who are not really going to be used, are they even going to be missed anyway? Hammerhead. No academy player we have now will be good enough to make the first team next season. We don't know that. Let's see what happens in pre-season and see what happens then. Football CFC Candy. What do you think is the long-term future of Declan Rice? Do you think the fact that Ham aren't in the Champions League, Europa League can affect things. Not this season, but certainly at the end of this season or the season coming up, it will be interesting to see what happens then. But Declan will stay with us now, and then in a season's time, let's see what happens. I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to get him back at Chelsea. Miles, we need an upgrade on Antonio. Absolutely agreed. Totally don't disagree with that. Louis, Rice worth 100 mil, having a laugh, mate. He stands out in a shit team. Ah, thank you. Who do you support, Louis? Rice is definitely worth 100 mil. In fact, he's worth a hell of a lot more than 100 mil. Trini, Gallagher covers 3 of those attacking positions. Good point. Good shout. Ant again, Rice 100 million. Not even worth 60. Don't make me laugh. Mate, seriously, when you have him in your team, you'll realise what value he is to you. David, Moyes was lucky to get away with Antonio. There will be mayhem if we go into another season with one striker. I do agree. I do agree. David, I'm ignoring Ant, and you can kick him off if you want, Hammerette. We need another quality striker to compete, not back up to Antonio. I agree. Why can't Antonio play on the left while a new striker comes in? Great show. Thank you very much. It's a good shout. Good evening to you, Mandy. How are you? Thank you for joining. Let's scroll down. Darren, I think Moyes will play a 4-3-3 formation next season, so not out-and-out striker. No out-and-out striker coming in. Good shout. Good evening to you, Peach. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Vinny, don't matter if you have quality squad. You need backups or be another season with no trophies. Yeah, possibly. Roberts, Newman, got to come good. Otherwise, what's the point? I agree. We don't know what Newman's doing. Many people are saying he's not doing his job, but maybe he is, and maybe David Moyes is saying no. We hear rumours that Moyes is Newman's offering him names, and David Moyes is going no, no, no. Why have a scouting system if that's the case? David, absolutely agree on Holosek. Would have covered attacking midfield and striker. Moyes would back him. Would be back in for him next summer for 60 mil. He needs to realise we need to take a CG. A CG. Daniela, still, you can always take me for a drink. I'll keep you to that next season. Let's scroll down. Gaza. I would revert to playing Antonio on the left. We bring in a striker. I wouldn't mind that. To be really honest with you, I wouldn't mind that. I don't think Moyes sees that, to be honest with you. Dabs. Strikers are going out of fashion in the Premier League, unless you're Haaland, of course. Chris, do you think Mitrovic would be an ideal signing for Moyes? No, because there's no way Mitrovic will come to West Ham now that Fulham are back up in the Premier League. But in terms of his style of play, then possibly, yeah. David, Moyes needs to realise that West Ham can't afford to buy young Premier proven players. He should have taken a chance on Klozek rather than sniffing around next summer for 60 mil. I do agree with you, yeah, but then you don't know what's going on in Moyes' mind. Moyes kind of contradicts himself sometimes. 1 minute he's saying, "I want the Red Bull sort of approach where you buy young, hungry players, etc., and get them playing better, get them playing bigger, higher level football, etc." And Klozek was that opportunity. Maybe he saw something in Klozek that he didn't see something in Closet that we all saw. I don't know. I don't know. Good evening, Don B. How are you? Great. Thank you very much, mate. I'm much appreciated. Thanks for joining, Dom. Gaza, Diop is up. I think he will be going. Yeah. Trini. No one knows if any of the under 23s are good enough for the first team as they were not used enough. Exactly. Exactly. I agree. Roberts. With 5 subs next season, we need a truckload of players because other teams will be 3 or 4 subs every match running our team into the ground. Agreed. I agree. Mandy, the more players we get in, the less money we have for a striker. I can see us leaving the left back issue for next season. I kind of hope not. If we've got 100 million and we can get, let's look at the value of some of these players. So Alphonse Areola, roughly 10, 11 million pounds. Again, if he really is signing, it's going to be something like 15 million plus add-ons. That's 25 million. If we do get Lingard, free agent, even if we give him a 10 million signing on fee, which I don't think we will, that's 35 million. That's 3 players already. If we've got 150 million to spend, we've still got over 100 million to spend, 115 million pounds to spend on, and maybe another 3 players. Will that go far enough? Let's say let's dabble and say Bissouma 40 million. That's still another 18, 90 million pounds left on 2 more players. It can be done. It can be done. It'll be tight though. 150 million. Anil, Last homegrown shining light was Diangana. His career nosedived. It absolutely did, didn't it? And everybody was upset about it. But things went wrong with Diangana. He was sent out on loan at West Brom. He proved himself. He thought he was going to be, a player that was going to start making noises in the first team. And all of a sudden, he was sold. Excuse me. And that was a massive surprise. But yeah, but his career nosedived. And Gakia, our right back, who went to Watford, his career kind of went a little bit skewered as well. Excuse me. Arthur, good evening to you. I guarantee we won by a striker. Everyone thinking differently are deluded. Um, I, I think I agree with you, Arthur. Dabs, to be fair, Areola deal was a complete shock and out of the blue. So I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up in a few days and they've announced Aged or Lingard. I wouldn't be so. I think our first three signings are going to be Areola, Aged, and Lingard. I think those will be our first three signings, and then we've got three more to get. I want more, but three more. David, if we genuinely have 100 150 million to spend, which I seriously doubt, then it really shouldn't be beyond us to get 6 or 7 players, averaging 20 million each. But I think it'll be 3 or 4 running out of gas again. If we get 3 or 4, I don't think we're going to have a good season at all. Yeah. But if we do get at least 6, then I think, so long as they're good, I think be fine. Mandy, just one Canelo, give him to us, send him to Stratford and put him on a bus. Arthur, we need so many players, and so many players ain't good enough. Creswell, Diop, Souček, Capone. Well, I disagree. Creswell, I think he's still got a role to play. Diop, yes, if we get Aged, I think Diop will be in. Souček, I think he's just had a bad season. Let's not forget, he was Hammer of the Year the season before last. So I don't think he's pony. I think he'll be, I think he's still got a role to play at West Ham. I'm going to scroll down because I'm still half an hour behind on the chat, and I want to do the last part of the show. So let's do a few more. Ben Rama gave his loyalty bonus from Brentford to the workers in the canteen and training ground. Top bloke. Don't think he'll be the sort of guy to steal a watch. No, I don't either, to be quite honest with you. I don't think any of the players would have stolen the watch. Darren, Moyes won't spend the money. He's tighter than that's arsehole. This is what I think. Arthur, Bissouma is off to jail. Why on earth with the Zuma cat abuse would we buy Jesus? Well, we would buy him, Jesus. Bizuma off to jail. What's he? Is he? Good evening, Pitbull. Thank you for joining. Thank you for boosting the numbers. Forever for 20. Forever 420. Hope you're well, sir. I'm very well, mate. Mane is meant to be leaving 34 million. Why don't we go for him? Why don't we indeed? You know what will happen? What's his name? Klopp will go, give us Bowen and we'll give you Mane. Fuck that. No, thank you. Let's scroll down. What else we got here? I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to keep scrolling because everyone's talking to the Millwall guy. Learn to dig 2 pits. Learn to dig 2 pits. Most West Ham fans don't think Jamaica should field an international team. They need to have many seats. I think every nation deserves to have a national team. I think every player deserves to play international football. And if Antonio chooses to continue playing for Jamaica, he has every right to do so. If he doesn't retire from international duty. But there's a price to pay for that. And that's not just with Antonio. That's for every player that plays international football, especially at his age. I get why he wanted to do it. I respect him for it. But yeah, it didn't help us. Arthur, Lingard can do one. I can see him being all right the first year. After that, his brother will start getting involved in everything. No thanks, bye. It's a good point. Good point. Ryan, I did chuckle when I heard Lingard demands 100. I think that's just paper talk. I don't think that's true. I think that's just paper talk. I don't think Lingard is asking for 180 grand a week. I'll be very, very surprised if he gets anywhere near that. Right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop there and go into the final part of the show, which is, where is it? That. It ain't that, it's this. So, just a few transfers this week. I haven't spent a lot of time on them this week, to be quite honest with you. I could talk about Mohamed Bio, who I talked about last summer, and I think also, yeah, no, it was last summer. I could talk about Valentin Castellano, who plays football in America. I'm not going to talk about him. I could talk about Real Madrid goalie Andre Lunin, but there's no point because I think Areola will sign. I can talk about Burnley keeper Nick Pope. There's loads. Talk about Eddie Nketiah, Aaron Hickey. And if you want to know about Naif Aged, look at the video I did only a few days ago to give you an update. I did a whole scout report on him. But I'm not going to talk about those. I am going to talk about, I'm afraid, Jesse, oh God, not again, Lingard, Borja Iglesias, who's he? I even talked about him 3 years ago. Josh Brownhill, Scott McGinn, Yves Bissouma, and two young attacking players, Junior Amadou and Noah Lang. So let's start off with the first one, shall we? The rumours keep floating around. He's a free agent now with big demands, as has just been mentioned in the chat. Apparently, he wants a £10 million signing on fee. He wants 180 grand a week. Look, he'll get a decent sized signing on fee. He could get something like 6, 7, £8 million maybe. 180 grand a week. Don't believe it all. I doubt very much that any club is going to give Jesse Lingard 180 grand a week. Someone mentioned earlier he could be off to AC Milan, etc. These clubs abroad don't have money floating around. The only clubs that seem to be still rich at the moment, are the English clubs. Spanish clubs are suffering. Italian clubs are suffering. French clubs are suffering. Apart, unless you're PSG, of course, and stuff like that. Because Barcelona, as an example, having to sell players because they don't have money. Juventus, as an example, having to sell players because they don't have money. These leagues don't have the sort of money that the Premier League does. So Lingard going off expecting 180 grand a week, he ain't going to get it. He certainly ain't going to get it abroad. I'll be very, very, very surprised if a club comes in and offers him 180 grand a week. He's 29 years of age. We know all of his stats and all that sort of stuff. We know what he can do, but he's had a poor season, hasn't he? Not his fault, of course. Only 22 appearances in all competitions, 4 starts last season, 548 minutes on the pitch, scoring 2 goals against one against us and 1 assist. It's just awful for a player that still has a lot to offer. I know a lot of people are pissed off with him and saying, "Oh, if you wanted to come, he should have done by now." But as a lot of you have alluded to, sometimes a decision is not just down to the player himself. He's got to go through his agents. The clubs themselves. The story goes, as I've said before, David Moyes approached Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last summer and said, "I want to buy Lingard for West Ham permanently." And Solskjaer said, "No, I've got plans for him." So Solskjaer let him down, rarely played him. After saying I got plans for him, all he had plans for was for him to be on the bench. So he didn't get game time. Didn't get any better with Ranić coming in, still not getting any game time. You don't become a shit player overnight. I think he's a good player. I think he can still do the business for us. 29 years of age. He's still got a good couple of years left in him. Why not sign him? Free agent. He ain't going to get 180 grand. If you agree, I don't know. I don't know what he's on now. But if you agree, he's going to be one of the top earners if he comes to us, without a doubt. At West Ham, 120, 130 grand a week, maybe. You give him that, you give him a 2-year contract, see what he can do. Plus, he knows if he comes to West Ham United, he'll be playing football. He will not be on the bench, or certainly not be on the bench every other game or every other 3 games, etc. He will be playing football. He will be a first team starter under David Moyes, and he knows that. He doesn't know whether he'll get that wherever else he might go, whether it be Newcastle or any club abroad. There's no guarantee that he'll play first team football, whereas he knows he'll get that guarantee. Plus, there's still 3 months to go before the World Cup, or 4 months to go before the World Cup, or 3 months to go when the new season starts. He might look at it and go, "I want a chance." He might look, over his shoulder and go, "Jared Bowen has just finally made it, and deservedly so, into the England squad. That's where I want to be. Why shouldn't I be in that squad?" And he knows that West Ham United could give him that platform. I think he's coming. But then I don't know. I don't know. It's just my thoughts. I think he will come to West Ham United. I think he's continues to have a point to prove, but that's fine because if he has a point to prove, he plays well for us. So I can't see a problem in that. And I know people go, "Oh, he's had his time, etc., etc." I think we're going to get him. I would be surprised if we don't. But if we don't, I think it all boils down to what his agent does. If his agent fucks around, and if his agent wants to start asking for silly money, then David Moyes will pull the plug and go, or you know what, this is the last chance saloon on this. I'll go and look for other players, go and look for younger players, etc., etc. But he knows, Lingard knows himself as a footballer that West Ham United is probably his best bet at the moment. You know, where he'll get first team football, he'll get an opportunity to shine in the Premier League again, right under the nose of Gareth Southgate, looking for an opportunity to get into that World Cup squad. Why not? So they're my thoughts. I know a lot of people will disagree. Right, that should have said Borja, not Borga Iglesias, Real Betis striker. I looked at that when the story came up today, and I went, "Ah, name rings a bell. The name rings a bell. I'm sure I've talked about him before." And I looked at my old notes, and so and behold, July 2019 was the first time we were linked to this player. Now, he was back then, he was Borja Iglesias of Espanyol. And then a month later, after July, in the summer transfer window, he moved to Real Betis. And he was sold there for £25 million. The first couple of seasons at Real Betis didn't really do much. He got like the big signing. You know, he was displayed in front of the fans, etc. But he didn't quite do it in the first couple of seasons. Didn't get picked regularly, but in the last season that he played, he's made decent number of appearances, and he's done well in the last season. He's 29 years of age. He still has something like about 4 years left on his contract, and people are saying uh, Real Betis are a club that I've just mentioned in a bit of financial crisis. They need to sell. They need to sell players. They can't afford to keep players like Iglesias, and they're looking to sell him. What they're looking for, though, is to get almost as much money for him as they bought him for, which is not going to be likely. But for maybe £15 million, something like that. He could be a player that could come in, a lot of experience, good goal scorer. He can play one up front, and he's good in his style of play. Would certainly suit the David Moyes style of play. So maybe that's a maybe, but I think it's a bit of a long shot maybe. Let's move into midfield, shall we? And with Burnley relegated, a lot of rumour that Josh Brownhill could be a player that we're speculating on. Now, he went to uh, um, Burnley in 2020 for a fee of just £9 million. He's made 84 appearances for the club, and he's been what many would call one of the better players for Burnley in midfield. He plays predominantly two in the middle. He's more of a defensive-minded midfielder, which allows other players like Declan, for example, to venture further forward and not have to worry about the defensive midfield duties. Good passing success rate, around about 85%. Good engine. Still got 2 years left at Burnley and could be valued at around about £10 million. It's someone that we could buy. It's someone that will certainly fill the gaps, but as many people allude to, would it be a step up? Not so sure. Scott McGinn from Aston Villa. Now, very similar player, but a lot more expensive. Rumoured to be around about the £25 million mark. Now, he's got a contract with Villa till 2025. And with the arrival of Boubacar Kamara at Aston Villa, people will ask whether Scott McGinn will get as much game time as he would as he has done so far. I don't know about this one. 25 million. I think there's probably other players that are slightly better that we can get. And one of them, of course, is Yves Bissouma. I mean, he's a great talent. And people are already saying, don't kid yourselves, we're not going to get him. But for a fee of about £40 million, who knows? Declan has talked about Basuma being one of the top 5 players that he's played against. You know, he's got everything. He's got a good engine, good passing ability, good defensive minded skills. He's really he's kind of. I talked about Boubacar Kamara last week about being one of the closest players that you can get to Declan Rice. I think you could argue Yves Bissouma could be up there as well. I know we're all tinted with our claret and blue glasses, and we're going to say that Declan, of course, is the better of all of them. But Bissouma is not a bad player to have alongside you. And I know people are saying there's no way we're going to get him, but the rumor is that apparently he's possibly interested in moving on from Brighton. If we could put in a decent offer for him, why not? I don't think it will happen, but why not? And then finally, two young players, attacking players that could be the alternative to Lingard. But again, I'm not reading too much into these stories, so I'm going to go through them briefly. The first one is Junior Adamu of Red Bull Salzburg, who have just won their title in Austria. 20 years of age with a contract till 2025. He's made 43 appearances this season, scoring 9 goals for the club. He cuts in from the left of attacking midfield, but as we know, apparently we're looking at an awful lot of left-sided attacking midfield players, Lewis Potter, and so on and so forth. Not sure if Moyes will look at him as a serious target, but interesting. But I don't think that's going to go much further. And the same with this player, Noah Lang from Club Bruges. Again, just like Adamu and his club Red Bull Salzburg. Club Bruges have just won their league title again in Belgium. Developed through the Ajax youth ranks, moved to Bruges for a fee of 5 million in 2021. He's got a contract till 2025, and he's the next big sensation. AC Milan are looking at him and all these sorts of club. Apparently, if he's going to move, Bruges want about £25 million for this player, so they'll make a whacking profit on the fee that they paid. Again, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think there are many other stories out there that are probably a lot more likely than some of the stories that have been out there this week. But we've kind of become accustomed to it, haven't we? We're linked to everybody, and it gets ridiculous sometimes. And as I said, a lot of these players are agent rumors. They want to get a good price for their player. That maybe they see no future for the player at the club that they play for, or like some of these youngsters, they think they're ready for the next level, so they tout them out. Put stories out there, or West Ham's interested, and AC Milan's interested, and Liverpool are interested, etc. That kind of raises the expectation, might raise the price a little bit, and I think that's why a lot of the stories come out. I'm going to do. That's it for transfer rooms. I'm going to do a lot more transfer shows throughout this week. I'm going to focus on maybe one or two players every other day because there are so many to go through. You can't keep up. But of the players that I mentioned, just sort of reviewing them again, uh, Lingard, yeah. Iglesias, no. Brownhill, possibly, but I don't think it will inspire many West Ham fans. Scott McGinn, again, maybe, but maybe too much money. Basuma, I mean, for the money, you're getting a lot of quality. And then these two youngsters, Adamu and Lang, probably not. Let's finish off with your comments before I bid you farewell. DK, I feel like Tavernier, Lundstrom, Kyogo would be great signings for someone Scottish. Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, European experience centre-back would be ideal for you. Don't watch English a lot. Oxlade-Chamberlain, people are saying Milner, no, I think Milner, great player, but probably too old. We need to bring our average age down on the squad. Oxlade-Chamberlain, people are talking about him being as an alternative to Lingard if we don't get him. I don't know. I don't know. Tommy, good evening to you. Need to continue what we've achieved last season. Let's go for Lingard, Gallagher, and a top striker. Lingard, I'd love to get Gallagher. I must admit, I'd love to get Gallagher in. Arthur, I reckon Piercy left because he had a bust up with Moyes about buying players or not buying players and not playing youth. We don't know, mate. We really don't. It's possible, but I'm not sure. Jim, Moyes don't like spending, so probably youngsters will get a chance. Well, you would have thought that this season, wouldn't you? You would have thought that the season just passed, that Moyes would have blooded the youngsters a bit more in order to see what he was like, what they were like. NWO, 5 average players would have had a better season finishing sixth. 5 average players we would have had a better season finishing. What? But we had average players in the squad, and Moyes didn't use them. Howard, was Rob Ewan's Moyes' choice? Yes, he was. Apparently, he was recruited by Moyes, is what I understand. Gaza, bigger and better squad still. Bigger and better, yes. Bigger, I don't know, mate. I might be way off the mark, and we may not sell as many players as I'm suggesting, or we'll go out and buy 9 players. Don't see it. Don't see it. Mark, I think Pierce left because maybe he was going into management or helping out again with the England squad. That's a possibility. Kenneth, I do respect what Moyes has achieved, but he is ruining players like Blasic and Benrahma. Just look at Haller, how he is playing. Can't disagree with that. Tommy, you think Benrahma will definitely go? I'm not so I'm not so sure. David, do West Ham have a good chance in bringing in an England top midfielder for him to play alongside Rice? JWP Phillips. I think we've missed out on Phillips with Leeds having not been relegated. I don't think Phillips will go. Ward Prowse. There's a possibility. I wouldn't mind that. I think I'd prefer Gallagher, to be honest with you. Martini, what cost us at least 15 points this season still was our goals against. All the best teams are built around a mean defence. I agree with you, Martini, without a shadow of a doubt. I do agree with you. I think when we lost Ogbonna and then we lost Zuma before the transfer window, that was the big alarm bell for Moyes to go out and get another centre back. Big alarm bell, and he didn't do that. And I think that was really, really disappointing. I agree. Tommy Calvin Phillips, the man, love him to come to West Ham, but I'm not so sure. Huge. What has Rob Newman been doing? He should be had our signings all lined up by now. But this is the thing. For all we know, especially as we didn't buy in January, for all we know, Newman could be going to David Moyes and saying, "Don't forget, David Moyes wanted a scouting system at West Ham. He's got one. His son is one of the scouts at West Ham. Newman heads the scouting group up." I'm sure Newman must be doing his job and the scouts must be doing their job. And I can't believe for a minute that they're not giving David Moyes names and saying, have a look at this player, have a look at this player, etc. The bottom line is Moyes is the final decision maker. Look, before I move on and finish off with a few more comments, people, if this is your first time on the channel and if you like what you've heard, like what you've seen, etc., please hit the subscribe button. It'll be much appreciated. Please hit the bell notification as well to alert you when the next show is on, and hit the like button. It helps. Mandy, top four teams see their players' targets and pay the money to get them. We have to look for bargains, which is why we're not breaking the top four anytime soon. I can't disagree with that. Yeah. And Moyes, as we know, is careful with his money. Or careful with the club's money. I like Calvin Phillips, but if we did buy him, knowing our luck, he will get injured and be out for a few months. So true. Let's scroll down. Do forgive me if I'm not commenting, picking up all your comments. Learn to dig pits. There is a month or so break in this season. In the season next year, you think Moyes won't work around it? He doesn't like winter transfer windows. Moyes will see that as an opportunity where he might give some of his players who aren't going to be on international duty some respite. Yeah, I think all good managers will work around that break. Yeah, but it's not really a break, is it? Because everyone will be on. A lot of players will be at the World Cup. Schizo. Kral never changed the game for us, nor did Vlasic. Moyes going to have to get players he trusts. He can't make the same mistakes twice. This is what I keep saying about not necessarily numbers, but quality in depth. Quality in depth. You're absolutely right. He had these players on the bench, rarely used them. Juha, what kind of hat would you be willing to eat still? I'd watch that for content. Oh, let's worry about that later. Learn to dig pits. West Ham success is based off Antonio. Antonio has been part of the success. There's absolutely no denying it. Not disputing that for 1 minute. But Antonio lost form from November all the way through to more or less the end of the season. If that had been any other player in West Ham, Moyes would have dropped that player. Whereas with Antonio, he kept with him and he kept with him and he kept with him. And it was only a couple of times where he dug Antonio out, but he was digging out Ben Rama throughout the whole season, and he was quite critical of players that weren't playing well. But he gave Antonio a lot of slack because he likes Antonio. And Antonio is a very good player. But you do need an alternative. You absolutely do. Gaza, you don't have to. You don't have a hat. I don't. So there you go. I can't eat one. Let's scroll down. Learn to dig pits again. Antonio's a better player than the last 50 West Ham strikers. Tony Williams, you prejudice. You sound no one's prejudiced. I think what people see is what people respond to is what they see. There's no denying Antonio lost form. No denying it at all. But then other players did. Socek lost form. There's other players that lost form. Masuaku, don't even think he ever had form, to be quite honest with you. Ben Rama lost form. Fornals lost form. There was a number of West Ham players. Now, I think the reason for a lot of the reason for that is because they played so many games. They didn't get a respite. They didn't get a respite throughout the season. If you've got a quality squad, then you get that respite. Antonio never had that. Socek, there wasn't an alternative. Noble could come in for a few games. We knew that, but we know Noble wouldn't play a number of games in succession. There was no alternative for Antonio. It would have only been Bowen, but then you would have had a problem on the right side. Arthur. Rice is going next summer. He ain't going to sign any contract. I don't blame him. We won't ever compete. How can we with our owners and the oil clubs? Forever. Let's get your comment there. What time's that? Forever 10. I'm half an hour behind. I'm very well, mate. Thank you very much. Marnie on his way out. Apparently, yeah, mentioned that already. I'd buy it. I would, but so long as it means that they don't go asking for Bowen in return, because no way. Mane, course. He'll go to a big club though, I would imagine. Rahat, Benzema, Antonio, Jesus, Antonio, Mane, Antonio, Haaland, Antonio, Formula One karting. I guess you'll kind of compare Antonio to other strikers around the world. Shroj, Klosek will be a success, and I will be angry. Will be angry at Moyes, but yeah, could well be. Mark, haven't heard that before. We need to do this or no trophy next season, 40 years. I don't know what you were replying to, so forgive me. Alex, Moyes has credit in the bank, but if you can't push us on next season, then Moyes needs to leave 2 years without strikers. Well, it's been more than 2 years. When did Allaire leave? Jacob. Great show. I love watching this show. I'm always optimistic and still believe we can get a few. 21 quality players is better than 27 not so great. Thank you, Jacob. I'm so glad someone's thinking the same way. I'm not saying I want only 21 players. Please forgive me. Don't think that's what I'm suggesting. But you're absolutely right. This is my thought process. 21 quality players is better than having 27 players, of which you're not going to use 7 or 8 of them anyway. Trodge, we need some pace. Belotti is another slogger. I don't think Belotti's coming. I think Belotti's looking for AC Milan to sign him or something like that, isn't he? Let's scroll down. Please forgive me. I'm not going to put everyone's comments. I can't. We get 2 best seasons ever, and Antonio played up front for the majority of it. I think Antonio needs to be shown respect. Trodge, absolutely. Please don't misunderstand me. I don't think he's I think Antonio just. Every player just needs to have, there needs to be an alternative to keep you on your toes. Even Antonio him said, I think in the January transfer window, I wouldn't mind getting another striker in or whatever the comment was he made. You've got to have competition, and please don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not suggesting that Antonio took his foot off the pedal because he had no competition, but you need that competition within the squad. I think everyone does respect Antonio. I think Antonio has been a fantastic servant for us. Look how many games he's played, how many different positions he's played, etc. But there's no denying that he went off the boil quite a lot throughout last season. But I'll repeat, so did other players. Fornals went through a phase. Lanzini went through a phase. Socek went through a phase. Several other players did as well. Lee, good evening to you. To all the West Ham fans, I love you, but I really do not care who comes in for us. As long as the team are happy, we will compete with the best. We are massive. Don't ever forget it and keep the something else and keep the faith, people. Thank you, Lee. Well said, mate. Let's scroll down. I'm not going to repeat that Rahat, mate. Don't even understand what point you're trying to make. Let's scroll down. Mane to CFC Blue, Mane to West Ham. Well, I didn't say he's coming to West Ham. I said I'd love him to come to West Ham, but we know he's not going to go to West Ham United. Mane would go to another team, probably in Europe, somewhere like that. Dabs, using my sidekick abilities, there will be a major West Ham news story tomorrow about transfers. Let me know, and I'll do a show on it. Shraj Castellano seems such a gamble. It ain't even going to happen, mate. So I wouldn't worry about it. Howard, give us the skinny dabs. Give us the skinny dabs. I didn't understand that. Mark, Darren, what the exchange rate now in the Philippines? 65. I lived there for 12 years, but now back in the UK. Mate, you're better off back in the Philippines. Trodge, I always wanted Milankovic and Bissouma. Can't believe we've been linked again with them recently. Yeah, Milankovic again. Yeah, I think if the Aguerd deal comes off, I think that's it for our centre backs. Bissouma, I would love Bissouma to come to West Ham, but we're dreamers, and West Ham are dreamers. Absolutely. Huge. Milenkovic and Bissouma is a great call, and with 2 top strikers, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be strength in depth? Absolutely. Let's scroll down. Who else do we have here? David. Milenkovic could be picked up for about the same price as we get Diop, maybe a bit more, and will give us good options, especially if Dawson does want to go. That's another story. Dawson apparently wanted to go back up north. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I think he will see that out. I think he's had a fantastic time. He's enjoyed himself at West Ham United, and I would be surprised if Dawson wants to call it a day now. I think Dawson will want to stay with us. There's no reason why Dawson will not want to see his last season out at West Ham United. He's been a fantastic servant. You know, the only alternatives, of course, is he could go to a club. A club that's just come up from to the Premier League, or he can go to a Championship club that will give him more game time. I see with the Ged coming in that maybe Dawson will have less game time. But let's not forget, we're in cup competitions, we're in Europa again. Europa Conference League, etc. So we need the strength in depth without a shadow of a doubt. Trini, I think Moyes needs to be bold and test Chelsea for a bid with Gallagher. I agree. Yeah. Gaza, we offered Declan 200 grand a week on 8-year contract. Lingard deal won't make sense if true. It won't make sense, which is why I don't believe for a minute that he's really asking for 180 grand a week. He knows he won't get that. Learn to dig pits. Moyes said he needed 5 or 6 transfer windows when he came back. This summer is 5. Big job ahead of him, isn't he? Massive, massive job ahead of him. And let's see what he does. I think the biggest disappointment for me was not buying players in the January window. Not only for, to see how we would have progressed, because I did say last week, you getting players in the January window doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do any better. They may not do any better than what we've already done. But what that would have done is if you bought a couple of players in January, it would have eased the pressure for this summer. We would have maybe, if we'd have bought in, say, 2 players in January, we may have only needed 5 players in this summer, or maybe 4 players or something like that. Now the pressure is really, really on. Now we've got to, because of so many players leaving, because of so many players potentially leaving the club as well, or on top of who's already left. That would be that's a big ask of Moyes. He's kind of caught himself out there. Gaza, Lingard's brother is the problem. We don't want another Arnie situation. Good point. Good point. Schizo. Lingard's smoothest transition to a new club is with West Ham. This, my thoughts as well. My thoughts as well. Rahat, Lingard was playing as a sub for Manu. Only what he can bring to West Ham when Manu hasn't won anything this season. Well, he can bring a lot more to West Ham United, and we saw that when he was on loan to us the season before last. Let's scroll down because I'm really trying to catch up on time, and I can see so many comments. Hammerette, cheer up, everyone! Crikey, the window hasn't officially opened yet. For all we know, Moyes hasn't actually offered any players a chance at the Hammers yet. Good point. Good point. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. We've already done that one, Kevin. So was it you or was it Nick that won a Player of the Year or something? I saw on one of your Facebooks. I can't remember which one of the two of you it was, but congratulations to being player. Tell me what it was, Player of the Year or something like that. I saw. I caught a glimpse of it earlier on when I was putting the show together. Let's scroll down. I've seen so many comments. Lee, there's a reason that Lingard didn't come last year. Missed Greenwood and all that. Maybe I'm wrong, but still. And these big clubs keep great players only because they don't want other teams to progress. And it was obvious that we were told this, weren't we? We were told that Man United were not going to sell Lingard to us. If Man United had sold Lingard to us, we would have gone above them in the league, wouldn't we? We would have been above them. Ballon Dawson. Moyes needs to scout Braga striker Chronique. No, stop it. I don't rate Brownhill. I kind of don't either, David. But that was the latest. Huge. Not good enough. Yeah. Mark. Yeah. Anil. If Lingard was going abroad, it would have already happened. Lingard could have signed for an overseas team 6 months ago. Good point. Absolutely good point. Could have signed a pre-agreement. Absolutely. Gallo would be a great signing. Martin, good evening to you. We desperately need a quality striker. Don't disagree. And one more to rotate. Maybe Belotti would be a nice option since his contract's expire. I don't think we'll get Belotti. I'm not so sure, to be quite honest with you. I didn't know that. What's he going to prison for, Hammerhead? I'm really seriously. I didn't know that. Is he going to keep Kurt company? McGinn will cost way more than 25 million. Villa will be looking for closer to 50. Well, that's out the window then, isn't it? Ballon Dawson, Bissouma. I really need to catch up on things outside of West Ham, don't I? Hammerhead. Joe Linton is the next thing after Declan. His numbers are basically the same, if not a little bit better in some other areas. Good shout. Good shout. Darren, when is Bissouma's court date? I can't see us going for him until his trial is over. Well, there you go. I didn't even know that. Mihailo, good evening to you. Good evening, everyone. Hello, so nice to hear you. I want you to say, don't believe in any of the rumours around Ward-Prowse, Bissouma, and Phillips. The main hope for me is we get a striker, again, left back and a left winger. We need a bit more than that. But no, mate, I don't believe in any of the rumours. If you know me, I would say to you, don't believe in any of the rumours. David, Lang has a questionable attitude. Apparently, if Lingard goes to Milan, we might have a chance. No, I don't think Lingard will go. Mandy, not top six players, most of these. I would agree with that, to be quite honest with you. Martin, great chat. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Ballon, looking forward to the social media breakdown when we don't get the summer we're expecting. What are we expecting? I mean, I haven't actually asked you. I've told you what I think. I think we'll get no more than six players. I actually do think we'll have a smaller squad than last season. Are we getting more than six players? Will we have a smaller squad? Or will we keep some of the deadwood that aren't going to make it on the pitch next season, as well as getting players in as well? Hammerit, don't forget to thank you very much. Subscribing on you and not a troll. Thank you very much. Be nice. Stell, you need a partner here. I heard you can get Dan Lawless on loan to buy deal. Bob, sometimes are you not even considering Walton? Oh, of course we are. Well, I'm sure most West Ham fans will love to have Ward-Prowse, but I don't think we'll really have a chance of getting him, to be honest with you. And I think, I mean, I'm sure he'll be a perfect sort of player at West Ham. I think he'll be fantastic in midfield along Declan, without a doubt. Jacob, never heard of Scott McGinn. How about Scott? What did I say? I didn't say. Oh, you're going to get me worried now. Did I fuck up? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at his Scott McGinn. All right, I messed up. It's his twin brother. Damn it! See, that's the problem when I rush things. Thank you for putting me right, Jacob. Ryan, I think the Ox would actually be a decent signing. Could fit in on the right wing, attacking midfield or centre mid. Yeah, it's possible. If we get him for like, so long as what's his name? Klopp doesn't start fucking around and saying, yeah, you can have him, but we want Bowen and all that sort of shit. So yeah, possible. FaZe Clan, good evening to you. Any chance of Schick, or is he out of but no, he's not out of our budget, but I don't think Schick will come to West Ham. By Leverkusen, I think he's got something still like 4 years left on his contract. He'll probably be 35 million. So he wouldn't be out of our budget, but good player. Yeah, good player. Vinay, Pierce is right. He has pointed out the Emperor has no clothes, no new signings, and youth not given a chance. Kroll used as a prop on the bench and Vlasic not used properly. Is that what Pierce actually said? Is it? Well, I'm not disagreeing with him. Mandy, Ox is at that age where he will look for one last bumper pay deal. And aren't we the club that don't do that anymore? We're not meant to anyway. Martin, where's Frank Butcher? Really? I don't know. I haven't seen him for a while, to be quite honest with you. Kevin, I would wear the platinum colours than that shit. What kit are we looking at now? Have you seen the new shirt? I've dissed it already. Are you talking about the new shirt? Because it is horrid. Anyway, let's move on. Hammerette Martin, he hasn't been around lately. I've asked if anyone has on social media. Oh, that's for Frank. I hope he's well. I hope he's okay. Let's scroll down. Please forgive me, people, if I can't read out every single comment because I'm scrolling. I've got loads to get through. Kevin, that sleeve on the shirt will not stand a chance for VAR. I want a sleeve down to here. I want a sleeve that goes to about here, just above the where you have where you would normally wear your watch is the short sleeve shirt I want, so we can get away with all the handballs. Richard, if you want quality players and you have to pay high premium for them, can West Ham do this? Yes, West Ham can, but in all honesty, West Ham can't buy loads of players on high premium without a shadow of a doubt, which is why some maybe free signings come into play, or free agents, should I say. We can maybe afford at most 2 players on a 40-50 million pound, but that almost wipes away all our transfer budget. So no, Kieran, good evening to you. I hope you're well, mate. Long time no see. Epic. Why the hell would Mane go from Liverpool? Well, no, I'm not saying he would, and he probably wouldn't, without a shadow of a doubt. English Yardy, how are you, mate? I'm sick of this, to be honest. Moyes says dinosaur ways. I hate making comparisons. Look at Gerrard at Villa. He's basically saying I want top 6 or 7. I respect Moyes, but there's no more excuses. I agree, but look at what Everton did. Look at what Villa are doing at the moment. They're going out and getting players. They're going to have so many players, and sometimes you have more players than you need, and you don't know what your best 11 is going to be. So I get why Moyes keeps saying he wants a smaller squad. I understand that. But yeah, Villa are doing the business already, aren't they? Trini, 21 quality players to choose every game will still mean those players getting flogged, especially at cup run. But we have more than what Moyes was doing. Like people have said, Kral wasn't used, Vlasic wasn't used. If players at the back weren't injured, Diop wouldn't have got a chance. Masuaku wasn't used. There's a number of players that weren't used, and you probably have them if you keep them in the squad. They'll be the same again. He won't use them again next season. Um, Paul, Pep showed clearly his respect for Antonio, his quality, absolutely, and I don't think anyone's disrespecting Antonio without a shadow of a doubt. Let's scroll down. Anil, last season we started like a house on fire, but finished like a damp squib. Very true. However, we made Europe Conference, which I, for one, am looking forward to. So am I. It's European football. It's European football, and I think we should be more than happy with that. Block there, BBC, they slag the club more than the opposition fans. What's going on? Are you okay, Amaret? Are you in control? Vinay, fans, have you bought a striker? Moyes can't find better than Antonio. Infuriating. Andrew, how are you, mate? Evening all, still another 10 days before the window opens, and we're already panicking. Andrew, I thought Zuma's case was delayed, wasn't it, for a while? I could be wrong. He's already gone to court once, and nothing's been delayed. I don't know. Tabletop ramble. Good evening to you. There's not many successful out and out strikers in the league. Even Kane playing a lot deeper. Good point. Hammer it. Antonio's form dropped off after he came back from Jamaica. Then he went. Then he was trying too hard for a goal. Will be better next season, but as a winger again, hopefully, and impact sub. Good point. Lingard, English Yard. Lingard, if done, will be a good signing only because he hasn't really played at Man U. Poop for a few years. He still has 4 years of good football in him. Yeah, agree. Learn to dig pits. Antonio, Masuaku, Diop, and Randolph out. Notice trend. Oh no, don't go down that road, mate. That's got nothing. It's got absolutely nothing to do with it. I didn't actually say anything about Randolph going out, to be honest with you. No, don't go there. No, that's not what this show's about. Ozzio, I would pay Chelsea 65 million for Brojar and Gallagher. I think they'd want a bit more than that, to be honest with you. Andrew, don't think Kurt will go to jail. Of course, no, he won't. Maybe a hefty community service order and a hefty fine. Zuma's case is 1st of June. He already pleaded guilty. There you go. I think I think my partner will probably want her to look after our cats. Oh, I wonder if that's a good idea. Alex, Antonio's 32. He should be a bit part player. If you want to get better, you have to be ruthless. All the top clubs are savage. I agree with that. I think he's still got a role to play. But yeah, Arthur, where are we to tell? Where are we to tell me? Tell me about who new place you got. Sorry, mate. You completely lost me. I don't know what you're trying to say. Where are we? Tell me about who new place you got. You've lost me, Arthur. Ozzio, I don't mind if we get 6 players if Moyes actually uses them all and rotates the squad. Exactly what I think. Let's scroll down. Oh, it's jumped. So let's go up. Scroll down. What are we up to? 11 9. I'm catching up. I'm nearly there because I'm going to have to miss a lot of comments. Trodge, let's do that one. The Frenchman struggled for consistent Premier League minutes this season and seems likely to be sold in the coming months. Who's the Frenchman? Diop. He's not. Isn't he? Doesn't he play for? Isn't he signed his master to another international team? Could be wrong. Oh no. You're not talking about Zuma. Hammer it. Fatigue has had a huge part to play at the end of the season. Moyes can see that. He isn't stupid. I'm sure we'll soon see changes. Don't worry. I'm not worried. Um, I'm not worried, not yet. I'm not worried. Um, I'm not talking about you still. Been observing this for 2 years now. Oh, okay, mate. Fair play. But honestly, I don't think that's really that's what I know what you're getting at, but I genuinely don't think that's the case, mate. Honestly, Darren. Moyes has been our most successful manager in recent history. 2 seasons in a row, we finish in Europe. Calling him to be sacked is beyond retarded, and I agree with that. Thank you, Lee. People, if you're new to the channel, I keep saying it. I don't keep saying it often enough. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell notification to let you know when I'm next on, and please hit that like button. Thank you. Um, I'm down to the. I can't believe it. I'm down to the bottom. I'm down to the bottom. Hammer it. Don't diss each other on here, guys. Opinions are free. Just be kind. Absolutely true. What important bit did I miss, Trodge? I don't know. You're gonna have to rewrite it again. Otherwise, I don't know what you mean because I'm about to say goodbye. People, thank you so much. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. My throat's getting really, really dry. um, do look out for the shows that are coming up. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button, etc., etc. West Ham Voice and all that sort of crap. I will be doing more shows this week. It's transfer window. You know, if I don't do any shows, even I won't know what the hell's going on. So look out for them. I'll put them out. I'll put them out as advanced notice as I possibly can to let you know when they're happening. But thank you so much for your for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. Have a great week. 3-day week. What can go wrong? 3-day week. Let the fucking sun come out, is all I say. Have a good evening, everyone. And thank you for watching. And thank you for taking part.